All right, and we are live on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter for the 2020 NFL Draft. We got all the big play guys in the house tonight. Fred, Scott, Dave, Blake, Beats, and Chris. What's up, fellas?
What's going on?
What up?
Sorry for the delay. Wouldn't be a virtual draft without some tech issues, right? All the NFL teams are going through it. We got to go through it on our side.
Fred, who's the first one that's going to have a technical issue in this draft? Going Dave Gettleman.
I'm going to point to anybody. It's probably going to be the Bengals, right? Didn't they screw it up on the mock draft on Monday?
Yeah, they did.
20 minutes. Although I feel like that card's been turned in since the season over, so I think everybody knows where they're going. No big surprise here. I think everybody's on board. Joe Burrow to the Bengals. Is that right?
They still have 4 minutes. Who knows? Anything can happen, Fred.
That's right. And Tua goes first. Come one, come all. Come into the chat room. Let us know if you got anything that you want to hear us talk about. Who you guys pulling for? You Brownie fans out there, you Raven fans out there that are tuning in. We want to hear from all of you.
So this is a weird stream. So we've got 2 Baltimore guys, 3 Cleveland guys, and a Seahawks fan.
Seahawks, right.
It's a jumbled bunch, and I wouldn't want it any other way. I like it.
That is a weird mix.
All right, so I'm going to ask you guys. Fred and I always do this every year. We always say you have to have a first-round bold prediction. And it can be off the wall as you want. So each of you guys give us an off the
2 comments asking what's taking the Bengals so long to pick.
What's that?
I don't think anybody can hear you, Scott.
Hey, Scott, I can barely.
Can you hear me? Your mic is really low.
Is that better?
Really low.
There it is.
There it is.
There we go. All right. Let's try this again.
Fred, that old mute button.
Fred, yeah, it is the old mute button. Fred and I always do bold predictions. Let's have you guys give. It can be crazy. It can be off the wall. What's your bold prediction for this first round?
Ooh. I think the Buccaneers are going to try to trade up to 6, switch with the Chargers, go for an offensive lineman, try to get the best one they can.
Okay.
I like it.
How about Chris?
Browns trade back out of the top 20. How about that? Trade way back.
Okay.
Pick up some extra assets, maybe get Trent Williams, but there's going to be some sort of a trade.
Do you think Trent Williams actually gets traded during this draft?
I do. I honestly do. I think that's going to happen. I hope it's not to the Browns. I'm not a big fan of that personally. I just think all these little broken down. I mean, 31, we're talking about a Browns team that I don't think is quite ready to win next year.
Well, there it is, fellas.
Oh,
the pick is in.
Shocker. The shocker. Oh, my God. Boy, are they portraying Athens as a real hole. Oh, my God.
So I don't know a ton about Ohio. So my father was from Columbus. So I did see Columbus a few times growing up and whatnot. Is Cincinnati kind of like the rectum of Ohio? I don't really know a whole lot about Cincinnati.
Well, yes, but Athens is on the other side of the state. Cincinnati is really just northern Kentucky. I mean, it's literally the airport in Cincinnati is in Kentucky. It's physically there. But they're really making this out to be just the middle of cow country. I mean, it's not that bad. I mean, Athens has got OU, of course, Ohio University. Then also their biggest export is pretty much weed. So they didn't even show their cash crop at all there. They just showed a bunch of burnt out houses. I think that's totally unfair to the good people of Athens.
All right, so Goodell is going live now with the selection.
They already showed Burrow with the hat in hand.
Yeah, right.
He's ready.
They spoiled it a little bit. They killed the anticipation.
Oh man! See, now his house doesn't look anything like the other houses we've seen.
No. He looks like an average run-of-the-mill, middle-class family house. Some of these other houses are mansions that I've seen so far.
By the way, so we have somebody chiming in on the chat. Says, I went to Miami of Ohio. Athens is a dump.
I went to Miami of Ohio, and Athens is a dump. But I'm just saying, on the national stage, I'm not trying to kind of put lipstick on a pig here, gentlemen. because it's the national stage. Now, relative to everything else in Ohio,
Right.
it's crap.
All right. So we got Beats and we got Chris's bold prediction. I think we need Blake and Dave's bold predictions.
Blake, what do you got for a bold prediction?
Did anybody pick the Chargers trading up yet?
No.
Not heard
I had
that.
him trading back.
Chargers trade up to 4 and take Tua Tagovailoa.
Okay.
Wow,
All right.
you said the last name right.
Right.
Well done. You
Right.
practiced that.
I've only practiced it a handful of times today.
So I got to ask you guys, how much of a difference does Joe Burrow make in his first year? We all know the effect that a quarterback can have on a franchise, right? You guys have, you had a glimmer of hope 2 years ago with Baker. Last year wasn't great, but hey, you guys got your quarterback in the future. We obviously see what Lamar did for us last year here in Baltimore. We're now 14-2 last year. So what kind of effect do you think Joe Burrow can have on the Cincinnati team, Dave?
I mean, so Andy Dalton, he played on some okay teams,
right?
And I would still consider him above average, but I think you today's NFL, you get the rookie year where they don't have much film on you, and they don't know exactly what to expect out of you, kind of like Baker in his rookie year. I think you could go 500 for the Bengals.
That's a big improvement. If they go 500, that's a big improvement for him. And you got to remember, right? They brought AJ Green back on a franchise deal, which I didn't expect that to happen. They do have a decent wide receiver core there. They need some offensive line to kind of give him some help. But I don't know if I'm 100% sold on Burrow. Blake, what's your opinion on Burrow? I know he had obviously this great year, but was he that good of a quarterback, or is it just the talent that he had around him?
I think it was a combination of both. I think you have another first-round selection in Justin Jefferson that obviously has made a huge impact and arguably a top first-round pick in Edwards-Helaire. I mean, he had options around him, but I think he himself is the real deal. I mean, he's going to instantly improve that team. I think they could go better than 500 this year, personally, as long as everybody's healthy. We talked about it on our show a little bit. Cincinnati doesn't need a whole lot else on offense for this team to start rolling. They have AJ Green, Tyler Boyd, John Ross, Zach Eifert. They got weapons, and Jonah Williams is going to be coming back healthy this year. So
Moneyball.
As long as everybody comes back healthy, I see this team, at least offensively, being a better than 500 team. The defense is still pretty suspect, and they're going to have to address that later tonight or later this weekend. But as far as him coming in and making an immediate impact, man, it's going to be hard to predict, but I mean, it could be better. It could be just as good, if not better, than what Baker's rookie year was.
All right, I like it. Pick is in.
Ooh, it's going quick
for the Redskins. Yeah, I think these first 5, 6 picks may go quick unless you get some trades or whatever. But the Redskins, listen, they've got decent depth actually at pass rush, right? They got Montez Sweat, they got Ryan Kerrigan, but there's still no way they pass up on Chase Young, right? Chase Young, to me, is potentially like almost a surefire perennial Pro Bowler. Chris, what's your take on Chase Young here?
Absolute beast. Yeah. Absolute beast. I mean, my God, you just look at the guy and he looks like a guy who's just going to kill everybody in the NFL. Just like tomorrow. He looks ready to go, plug and play. He's just an absolute beast. Man, oh man, I would love to see him on the Cleveland Browns someday. But, good for him. Gave us some good years at Ohio State. Just an absolute, just a money player. And I'm excited to watch what he's going to do in the NFL now.
It's going to be a shame to watch his career go to waste in Washington. But Beats, what's your?
I hate the Redskins. They're just one of those teams. I don't like anything Dan Snyder does, so I hate to see these guys from the Buckeyes go there. To be honest with you, but it's nice to see him go at the top of the draft like this.
Agreed. Beats, what's your opinion on Chase Young? You like him?
Oh, he's unstoppable here. I think he's going to be an absolute all-pro. It doesn't matter who you send at him. You send a tight end to help the tackle. If you're dumb enough to put a tight end on him, he beats you. You send 2 guys at him, he's at least collapsing the pocket. I think he's an actual absolute home run.
Yeah. Dave?
The only time I've seen him struggle is when they triple team him.
Yeah.
It's like, he didn't get any sacks that game. Well, he had 5 guys on him.
Right. Washington, man.
They have to take him here. They have to take him.
this is going to be 2 years in a row now that they've taken an Ohio State guy, right? They got
Yep.
Dwayne Haskins a couple years ago, which I guess the jury's still out on Dwayne Haskins, how he's going to be as a pro. They hit a home run with Terry McLaurin, too. That's another guy that obviously has done really, really well for them. So I think they're on this whole Ohio State to Washington train, apparently.
Now, wait a second. What's Joe Burrow? Now, I'm probably behind again, but this Nike shirt, the 740 Ohio, yeah, that does not look like a Nike shirt, first of all. It looks like he put the swoosh on there later on.
I was going to say, that's an iron
That's
on
made by a
swoosh.
local company.
Yeah.
Or
Maybe
like puff paint. It almost looks like puff paint. Did he make it himself? I mean, seriously.
Are the Nike workers under quarantine too? Are they on a essential shutdown? Is that what's going on here?
It looks like a kid's project from one of these Nike workers.
His mommy ironed it on.
I mean, God bless him. He's been a great guy, but you picked that shirt, and I love the fact that he loves Ohio, that he represents Ohio, the whole 9 yards. But a puff paint shirt? I mean, come on.
That's great.
It's a clean look, Chris. It's a clean look.
It's a clean look. That's what they always say, right? It's a clean look. Oh, man, maybe too clean. Maybe too clean.
They see Chase
well,
Young.
they're showing Chase Young on the cell phone, so I think that's pretty much a done deal. Chase Young's got an average run-of-the-mill looking living room set up there too. I don't know who the random guy is in cowboy hat in the picture in front of him, but whatever.
I had assumed earlier that's got to be his dad, right?
I would assume, yeah.
Okay,
it's got to be his dad, kind of
The
central figure.
Yeah,
seven people following the rules of social distancing, not 6 feet apart, but that's all right.
Oh man,
Some of these states, it's down to 5 people now is what they're saying.
Is it really?
Yeah.
So I wonder what Washington does, man. If they do take Chase Young here, like I said, they got Montez Sweat, they got Ryan Kerrigan, who's the veteran. They got tons of edge rushers.
Do you trade one of them away for a later pick?
Right. Does that happen later on in this draft? Do they pick up some capital by moving maybe a veteran like a Ryan Kerrigan? We'll see. Yeah, forget about that, right? Ron Rivera, the new head coach there in Washington. Washington's turning the page. What's your guys' take on Ron Rivera as a coach? Do you guys like him?
Did you see when he was introduced by Dan Snyder? I forget what month it was. It definitely wasn't November. And he's like, Dan Snyder gets to the podium, and he's like, "Happy Thanksgiving, everyone." And you just see Ron Rivera in the background, like, "I've made a huge mistake."
Right.
Chase Young, there it is.
There it is. There he goes. Chase Young to the Redskins. Sorry for you, buddy.
Great pick.
I think of the free agent coaches this offseason, Rivera was easily the best one.
Yeah. I think that's a move that Dan Snyder actually didn't screw up. He just needs to stay out of his hair. You know what I mean? Just let him do his job.
Yeah, keep your nose out of where it doesn't belong.
Exactly.
And, and I think Carolina getting rid of Rivera was a little premature. I think they should have let him stay through the transition out of Cam Newton if that's the direction they wanted to go. Because let's face it, it's been a little unfair not having your starting quarterback for what's it been, almost 2 years now. So
Right.
I think the firing of Rivera was a little premature. But hey, if you want to wipe the slate clean, you wipe the slate clean.
Mm-hmm. Agreed. So I think we're all 100% on our mock draft so far. I think we're all 2 for 2.
I think so.
Steve on Facebook just chimed in and said everyone's mock draft is safe.
Yeah, right. Yeah, we're 100% so far. So next up, that's going to be Detroit Lions. They got 4 minutes left on the clock. Detroit, as always, has a ton of needs. Corner is one. The guy out of
Ohio State.
He's out of Ohio State too, right?
Okudah. Oh yeah. He's a stud. No, don't talk about him. He's fallen to the Browns. That's what's going to happen. Another guy I fall in love with. I fall in love with all the Ohio State guys, like everybody else, and any good Ohio guy should.
Right. Well,
and then the Browns, historically, outside of Ward, we never draft them. For years and years, we would never touch anybody from Ohio State. Now that worm has turned, and now we can't get those guys to fall to us in the draft.
Right. Well, I mean, if you look at it, like I said, Detroit every year, they got a ton of needs they need. They need help at cornerback. They did get rid of Darius Slay in the offseason. They need help. Right. They need help on the edge. They need help on offensive line. Give Matt Stafford some time. But I think here, I don't know how you guys feel. Does anybody move up? Does Detroit maybe move back here, or do they think they take Okudah here?
So in a lot of mock drafts, that was the move. Number 3, you had Miami, you had the Chargers, you had Beats, you said Tampa Bay, right? Moving up?
Trying to go into the third pick. I could see him moving up. I don't know if Detroit's the place. If they do, it's going to be back 1 or 2 spots. I think Detroit's too desperate for a cornerback, and there's so much a difference between Okudah and the rest of the cornerback class that I don't see them moving off of it.
Was it Miami that was talking about moving up to number 3 here to go after a tackle? Do you think that's like a smoke screen?
I could see that happening. One of those guys, one of those teams. That's about as far as I'll go. There was talk of Atlanta being really aggressive for a guy like Okudah, but I just can't see Detroit letting that happen.
Right.
I don't foresee Atlanta spending that kind of draft capital either, when they could probably stay where they're at and still get a guy like C.J. Henderson. So,
well, that was going to be the other guy I brought up. I've heard a lot of people say, like, some people have Okudah on another level than Henderson, and then other people have it vice versa, have Henderson another level. So I guess it really just comes down to what the Lions see as far as production there. But I think either one of those guys, if they're really trying to get like a franchise corner, a shutdown corner, either one of those guys would be good picks.
Yeah,
the pick is in. I don't think there's any way they don't take Okudah here.
All right, the pick is in. We shall see what happens here. Doesn't look like there's any trade news, so that's good.
I feel like Dave upped his refreshed his stream, because now he seems like just a slight bit ahead of us.
Oh, am I?
I don't know. You might be.
Could have been the restart for us. It shoved us behind.
I'll just stop talking.
But like I said, the Lions, listen, they had the fewest sacks in the league last year. Only had 28 total as a team. That's terrible. But so I think they were praying and hoping that maybe a Chase Young would fall to them.
Yeah. So this was the spot where I think a lot of people were going to trade up. Do you think we're going to see any trade ups now here in the top 10?
In the top 10. I mean, you might see a team like the Giants trade back. Although if they did that, really the only teams that I could see would be the Dolphins, who pick right behind them. And that would be just to block somebody. Like if the Dolphins and the Chargers are really battling it out for Tua, it's going to be one of them trying to secure that spot at 4. So I'm talking like a couple picks.
I thought the Lions took an offensive tackle, but it was just their coach, Patricia.
All right. Goodell is up here with the selection.
And the
Jeff
pick,
Okudah.
it is Jeff Okudah. Another Ohio State guy.
Good pick. Great pick.
In the top 3.
3 for 3 right now.
Yeah.
It's like watching 16 seeds versus 1 seeds early on in March Madness. Right? You feel kind of good about the way it's going, but you're like, none of the big games have happened.
So,
this is all expected right now.
For all the Ohio guys, I'll go ahead and do it.
Nice.
I think that's the most excited I've ever seen somebody get, drafted to the Lions.
Yeah.
That's the first time I've ever seen. Did you hear the story about Gronk the other day? Apparently, obviously, we all know Gronk gets traded to Tampa Bay. He's coming out of retirement. He had released a story the other day, said that 2 years ago, prior to his retirement, the Patriots had actually had an agreement in place to trade him to the Lions, and the deal was done. And when the Lions came to call him to tell him, he said, well, they can't trade me because I'm retired. He retired to avoid going to the Lions. Like, that's how bad it's in Detroit.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's even with Patricia there, right?
Yeah. 2 years ago was, I think, the first year of Patricia. Yep. Yep. But, yeah, Gronk had said publicly that he didn't want to play for any other quarterback other than Tom. And yeah, to each their own, I guess. No. So next up, we got the New York Giants coming up on the clock. This could obviously be the first tackle off the board. Right? Giants don't move here. They need desperate help on the offensive line. But, a lot of some of the projections out there also had them taking the wild card, the positionless player, Isaiah Simmons, the guy that we talked about pre-show, the guy that you can put him out at safety. You can put him out at linebacker. You can put him on the edge. You can put this guy all over the field. And with the type of athleticism that he has, man, he's going to be a high-producing defensive player.
Absolutely.
That's the one guy in the mock drafts where they don't know. There's always one guy who's projected like 2 through like 22.
Right.
And I don't see this guy falling past like maybe 8.
I don't either.
But this is going to be interesting. This is where the mock drafts are going to get messed up because a lot of times when you look at the offensive tackles, the mock drafts aren't correct. These scouts and these GMs look at these tackles and they see something different, and a lot of times they're not going to match up to these mock drafts. So I could see someone like Jedrick Wills or someone like that here.
Yeah, that's the thing. To your point, I've seen the rankings on these top 4 offensive tackles interchange, just depending on who you're talking. You got Jedrick Wills out of Alabama. You got Tristan Wirfs out of Iowa, Andrew Thomas out of Georgia, and Mekhi Becton out of Louisville. Any of those 4, really, just based on their stature and their production at the collegiate level, could all go in the top 10.
Yeah. I would say the least day one ready of the 4 is probably Becton, and I don't say that because of his recent transgressions, but I just say that simply off of film. The most game ready probably Jedrick Wills. So, but it also depends on too what your future plans are. If you're planning on maybe bumping a guy inside or testing him out inside, you might want to go with a Tristan Wirfs or a Wills, the guy that can kind of go both ways. So, just depends on what they want to do.
As long as they don't take Andrew Thomas here, I'll be happy.
I think the smart pick is obviously a tackle here for them. They got needs at edge, they got needs at corner, but you put the investment when everybody was shocked in Daniel Jones, and so far that's worked out okay for them, right? They ended up taking him a little higher than most people had him projected, but he's done good so far. They got a hell of a running back in Saquon Barkley, right? So they need some help on the offensive line. It's just going to benefit them in both ways, both in the running game and in the passing game. Chris, what's your take on the Giants here at number 4?
Well, before we go to that, I don't think we spent enough time talking about the top 3 picks in the NFL draft. You realize that Ohio State guys went 1, 2, 3.
You did.
Take a second and digest that slowly.
Right.
Slowly.
Crazy.
All 3 of those guys attended Ohio State.
If only the Browns had the first 3 picks, Chris.
That's correct. That's correct.
Perfect world.
Which in past seasons we came damn close to doing that, just not this year.
Urban Meyer burned the checkbook and then bowed out gracefully.
That's right. But I just love how football is coming back to Ohio. To Ohio, you got these great players from Ohio State, from Ohio. We're going, to the Bengals. There's an Kentucky team. Let's be fair. Kentucky team.
I was actually going to point that out, Chris. Technically, if you want to look at it this way, you had 3 Buckeyes at one point in time go all 1, 2, 3. People so soon forget that Joe Burrow was at Ohio State before he was at LSU. So
absolutely, that's
right.
exactly
but the one thing the one thing I'll follow up is 2 of them aren't Ohio guys, but they did go to Ohio State. So I'll give you that much.
Right. Hey, that's enough. All right. Don't kill my theme. Don't step on what I got going on here.
Oh man.
Yeah. So the Giants are going to take one of our tackles, aren't they?
Yeah.
I mean, essentially, they're gonna piss on me a little bit here, which I'm not very happy about. So my brother-in-law, he's a Giants fan, and so I was giving him crap because of Gettleman last year and getting OBJ, and just generally, and Olivier Vernon. Oh, by the way, who I thought was going to be just awesome, who hasn't been awesome at all. Yeah. A nice bookend at the other end. I mean, intellectually it made sense that it would just set our defense up. It just has not. But now he gets a little bit of revenge this year because those Giants are going to take one of the players that I probably want in a left tackle, which is unfortunate. It seems like the Giants seem to kind of mirror us in their needs in a lot of these drafts. I don't know why it is.
What does that tell you about the 2 organizations?
Bottom dwellers will be bottom dwellers.
No, it's as simple as that. Maybe it is as simple as that, but it is amazing to me.
With how long they're taking, I see the Giants here might be trading back maybe a pick or 2.
I was saying
down to 130.
130 left, and at this point, you have to either wonder is this the first team with technical issues, or are they fielding trade calls left and right?
Telling you, this is a trade.
Yeah, I think it's a trade as well. If they have 2 tackles that they're in love with, that they're happy with either, why not get a little bit of value out of it? Just dropping back 1 or 2 picks, still get the guy you want.
I don't know what you guys are talking about. They still got 2 minutes left on my screen.
You got to put another AOL CD in so it speeds up a little faster.
We were making the joke on our show. That's exactly what's like the Bengals are doing, because the Bengals historically do not pay for any of their infrastructure. So they're going through their old AOL discs and trying to see if those work.
They submitted the pick for Burrow through DOS.
The pick is in.
AOL instant messenger.
Say just as long as the Browns don't have to fax their pick in, right, guys?
Yeah,
right. That's right.
that fax thing worked out in our favor with Doomerville a few years back. We'll see what happens here, man. But you guys make a good point, though, talking about, your love for Ohio State and staying local and all. That's what we're hoping for here at Maryland, too. We brought in Coach Loxley, who's got strong ties here in the DMV. He's also got the ties to Alabama being their offensive coordinator. That's what he's trying to do, man. He's trying to keep the talent here in the DMV area. We're starting to see some big chips fall. We got a 5-star wide receiver locally that committed a couple of months ago. We got a couple other guys that are on the fringe. So we're hoping to turn the tide in the Big Ten and get bowling again, man. I don't think we'll ever be on the level of Ohio State. But hey, we gave you a hell of a game at Maryland 2 years ago. That was great. That was one of the best college football games I've ever been to.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. That's right. God. Sorry, Maryland. You guys are still an afterthought. You know that.
Absolutely, we know we are.
I mean,
gotta earn the respect, and we're trying.
You too. Yeah,
we know it and admit it.
we still have to think. Oh, is that conference? Non-conference. Oh, that's conference. That's right. There's still yeah. That's a conference game. Same thing with
like
Rutgers.
That was a slight dig there.
Yeah, same thing with Rutgers. It's like, oh yeah, that's right.
Meanwhile, he's an Ohio State fan, so he's only digging himself.
Yeah, I went to that game and I had an Ohio State jersey under my Maryland jacket on. It's great.
Well, Dave Gettleman's out here. He just has a New York Giants towel, like a beach towel, right over his TV.
Oh, it's set up on a portable table
in front of him. It's one monitor.
Holy Oh, I'm looking at Joe Judge. What's Joe Judge?
I forgot Joe Judge was the head coach, the old special teams guy.
Yeah. Still the most perplexing coach signing.
Oh my gosh. Now I'm seeing what you guys are seeing. Gettleman looks oh, you know what that is? That's an extra room like above a garage, I think.
Yeah, it's gotta be.
I was just getting ready to say it looked like he was in a crawl space.
The pick is
his
in.
family must hate him.
Goodell is gonna say Andrew Thomas.
Wow, it is. Wow, it is. But we all tackle, and I think that was your guy, right? That's the guy you guys were all hoping for.
Yeah, so I think he's the most safest pick. Ready, most consistent left tackle in this draft. That's a heck of a pick, I think, right there.
Yeah.
I think as a Browns fan at this point, you'd be happy if they land Joshua Jones at the or Becton, right?
I feel like they trade back now.
Yeah. Oh, really?
I think the Browns will trade back.
You wouldn't go Jedrick Wills if he's there at your pick?
I don't think so. I think they'll trade back.
I think he goes in the next 2 picks.
I would say I think within the next few picks you see Wirfs and Wills within the next 3.
Well, you got Miami on the clock next, right? Miami's got 3 picks in the first round, I think.
Yep.
Yeah, so they got their pick of the litter at quarterback. Do they go Herbert? Do they go Tua? Which way do they go? What's your guys' take on those 2 quarterbacks? I know Tua obviously has the injury concerns, but when he was healthy, was a very good quarterback. Herbert, he's got the makeup, he's got the size, got the intangibles, but I don't know. He just doesn't impress me. I think he's another bust.
There was a game that I forget who they were playing, but I think it went to like double overtime. And the last play of the game, he just for them to go to try to tie it or to go to win it, he just this laser into the end zone, like 20 yards above everyone. I was like, oh, yeah, that's not going to help his draft stock.
That's not good. Blake, what's your take on the 2 quarterbacks, Tua and Herbert? Which one do you like better and why?
I think if you're in a position like Miami is, you're going to go with Tua. He's the most game-ready guy right now, injuries notwithstanding. If you're a team like LA where you can afford to have a guy like Tyrod Taylor stand in for a year and have Herbert learn the system, learn the terminology, learn kind of how the league operates and see the speed at which the league runs, I think you can afford to take a guy like Justin Herbert. But as far as this pick's concerned, if it's not Tua, I would be surprised.
Look at Dave Gettleman trying to put on a mask.
Does he realize there's nobody else around?
Wow.
Joe Judge, the Giants head coach, looks like he's in a bachelor's single room apartment.
Yeah. he rented out Ryan's studio from The Office.
That's great.
Oh, they pointed out that Dave Gettleman's wearing a mask in his own house by himself.
Yeah, he just,
I guess I am too. So what the hell am I talking about?
well, you're on the beach.
Oh, Joe Judge almost bit it. That was like probably a minute ago for you guys when he was getting up.
Chris is just our instant replay guy.
I should be. Only it's live for me, so I don't have the hindsight of 20, seeing it twice.
So I'll pose this question to the group.
Yeah.
Say they go Tua here. Well, what do you do if you're Miami with the last 2 picks in the first round? Yeah, I think they have 18 and 26, I believe.
18 and 26. I'm looking offensive line there for sure. I'm hoping one of those tackles fall there. You got to get a good, somebody to protect his blind side. And then I'm finding a target. I'm finding a wide receiver. There's so much talent at the wide receiver position in this draft. And I think that's the quickest way you make an impact by drafting a quarterback, somebody protect his quarterback, and then give him a weapon.
But at the same time, with that being said, this is also the deepest draft when it comes to some of the most, ready wide receivers. Some of these guys you can get for value in the second and third round.
Good point.
I see them trading back one of these picks. They wind up getting some more picks maybe for later rounds this year and next year and wind up getting some value there.
Well, they showed Tua. Tua's just sitting there very patiently. Does not look like he's anywhere near a cell phone. So that's not good with 3 minutes left.
Yeah, that's true. What if the Dolphins went Tua and both of his Alabama wide receivers?
Oh, they'd have to move around to be able to do that.
Oh, yeah. They'd have to give it out the farm.
Severely. They'd have to give the rest of their draft up and probably a couple picks in the next year to be able to move
the
up.
Dolphins. Have you seen what they're capable of? They can do whatever they want.
They're going to have to pull a Mike Ditka kind of move.
I agree. I agree with everything you said, Fred. I think offensive line's their next biggest need, but I think at 18, all the ones that I gave a first round grade to are going to be gone. So my opinion is you go that wide receiver target you were talking about. I think somebody like Ruggs will be there. Maybe Judy if he makes it past Oakland and Denver. Maybe go with one of those guys, one of the Bama receivers, especially if this pick is Tua. At 26 pick, I think they take the first running back off the board. I think you got to go DeAndre Swift. And then in the second round, with that first pick in the second round, take your tackle.
Okay, I like it. Look, I'm high on those first 3, really 4 wide receivers in this draft. All the guys you mentioned, CeeDee Lamb, Ruggs, and Judy. And then I throw Justin Jefferson just out of that top 3 group, in my opinion. Yep. I'm really hoping the Ravens get aggressive in this draft and trade up maybe to 13. The 49ers are said to be shopping the 13 and 31 overall pick because they have nothing between the second and fourth rounds. They have 0 picks. So they're looking to trade for some draft capital to get some picks in the middle of the draft, the meat and potatoes. I'd love to see the Ravens go up there and go after a Judy or even a Jefferson at that point. I'd love to see that.
I'm going to backtrack once again. Something that I noticed. Did you guys see Dave Gettleman? Not only did he put on the COVID mask when he was by himself, but why he put it on? He put it on because he was getting on the phone. Does Dave Gettleman think he can wear a COVID mask because he's on the phone?
Well, I mean, in fairness, the phones do have they carry the most disease and carry the most germs and whatnot on them. So
I'm not buying
your phone is less than
I'm
6
stretching. I'm stretching to try to help him out.
Your phone is less than 6 feet from you. Just
He's
saying.
a Gettleman apologist over here. Gonna go to the mat for the man.
Oh man, yeah. That was weird. I don't see Judy making it anywhere near 18 either. I think if really the Dolphins do want Judy, they're going to have to move up from 18 to be able to go after and get him. I think we're going to see once that first wide receiver comes off the board, the floodgates are going to open. You're going to see a run on wide receiver, especially that top 3 there.
So with that being said, do any of you guys think that if that does happen, do you wind up seeing some guys that were maybe expected early second round being flushed?
Pick is in. Hang on 1 second. And it is Tua.
Wow.
Yeah.
Tua Tagovailoa.
Yeah, to the Miami Dolphins.
At number 5.
Because right now, the Bengals just drafted Burrow on mine.
I feel like they just couldn't pass him up here.
Yeah.
We heard all the reports of them on Breeze, and he's just a playmaker. I mean, it obviously is a big risk with all the injuries, but can't pass that kind of talent and that kind of awareness.
Yeah, and like I said earlier, being that the Dolphins have 3 picks, they're one of the teams that can afford to take that kind of a risk, right? Because they've got so many picks in the first round. When you have 1, you better nail that pick. You can't screw that one up. You can't take that type of risk. So I think it makes sense for Miami.
I
And
almost think that's why they didn't trade up either.
Right.
Yeah, you trade up, you give up a little bit or something just to
Exactly.
have a guy that's a risk. Why not just if he falls to you, you take him?
Yeah, I agree.
I
So
just saw.
if he's 100%, is he starting day one?
I don't know, man. I think Ryan Fitzpatrick can hold his own.
Oh, sure.
At least, for a couple of weeks, just to kind of get his feet, especially if you don't think we're going to have OTAs, we're not going to have training camps, not to the extent that we would normally have. He's going to need those at least couple of weeks to kind of learn the playbook, learn the system, get his feet wet. I don't think he'll be thrown out there week one.
Yeah, that's a good point. I think that in a normal off season, Tua would come in and start day one.
Yeah.
Or any franchise. I think he's got all the tools to do it. But I think you're right with everything that's going on. He's not going to have much time to acclimate to this team, and you got Fitzpatrick.
Yeah,
boy, let Miami have him. He scares me. He scares me with that injury, history. And God, I'm glad it's them and not us, because he's the guy. If the Browns had been in that position, we don't have Baker. I mean, we've been there so many times in the past where it's just like, oh, you got to take him. He's such a talent, and you feel almost like your hand is forced. And as a fan, that's always tough to see, because you say, oh man, the drawbacks are right there in front of you, and you hate to see it. And I don't know, maybe I'm wrong, but I think this is going to end up burning Miami here in the short term and in the long term.
So we had an interesting statement come across. I'm curious to get your guys' take, because I think it's a little absurd given that Tua's talent despite the injuries. Ryan says 100% they pull Arizona and draft QB 2 years in a row.
I think I don't know. I think Tua is gonna be a little better than Rosen was in both situations.
I think
honestly,
that whole situation with Arizona was the change in coach and GM and everything that went on there.
Yeah.
They wanted their guys, and they wanted to put their own system in place. This is going to be obviously they got the new head coach down there. He's been down there for a couple years from New England. Can't think of his name right now, but he seems to be a no nonsense kind of guy. I think Tua is a much better talent than Rosen ever was. I actually think Tua, if I'm going to compare him to anybody, reminds me a lot of Russell Wilson. I think he's got that similar skill set to Russell Wilson.
Okay.
Yeah,
it's a good skill set to have.
I see.
Yes, it is.
I see Tua starting day one, depending on who that first tackle they pick, how he's doing after camp. If he's struggling, you don't put him out there. You let Fitzpatrick take a couple hits for him, let him learn the game a little bit, let your tackle develop. So I think that's going to be largely dependent not on how he's playing and preparing, but how his team around him is actually prepared.
Well, let me propose this to you guys, right? So we talked about the Dolphins picks. Their next pick is 18. We know that they need offensive line help. Are the Dolphins maybe a team to start talking to Washington about trading a pick for Trent Williams? Because obviously he's out there, and that's a toxic situation. They're looking to get rid of him.
That would fit with if you do something like that, then it fits with Blake's talk about how they can wait until that second round to pick a tackle.
Right.
Maybe let him develop behind him, learn the game a little bit, or play a little bit plug and play.
All right, guys, I'm going to bow out for just a moment so I can be back for the Browns pick. So I'm going to be back in about 15, FYI. I'm going to go take a swim.
Just leave the cam feed on so it doesn't adjust. But yeah, it's cool. If that's all right with you.
What do you mean? I have to leave. I have to leave here.
Oh, okay. Okay, gotcha.
Sorry.
All right, no worries. So we got the Chargers on the clock now. Obviously, this was the team that we were talking about. Whether it was going to be Tua to the Chargers or Tua to the, to the Dolphins. Goes to the Dolphins. Is it a slam dunk that Herbert goes here at 6, or do you think they end up going offensive tackle here?
I think this is where I had the trade in. I don't see Herbert going. I think there's too many question marks around him. I think he is a guy that people are going to see. I think we see him slide into the teens.
Here was something I thought about too earlier, and you guys can give me your thoughts. You take a tackle here. I think we'd all agree a tackle is impactful, but a tackle doesn't necessarily improve your win-loss, right? So my opinion is you have a couple guys that are in contract years out in LA, Hunter Henry, Joey Bosa, in huge contract years. Say you take a tackle here, you go 4-12 for the year, and you get Trevor Lawrence. You drive down that bargain with those guys, and you get your guy next year that you really like. If you liked Burrow and Tua and didn't like much else after them, don't waste the pick here. Take the tackle. and then get your guy next year after you drive down a couple of those other contracts.
I don't think that's a bad idea at all. Trevor Lawrence, I think he's a surefire lock for the number 1 overall pick next year, bearing injury or anything. So, tank for Trevor. What's your thoughts, Dave?
We got to come up with a better slogan than that. Tank for Trevor.
Slide for sunshine.
Yes, I like it.
We'll think of something. I don't know. Do you think the Chargers are upset with the Dolphins? Do you think that they were hoping that Tua was going to fall to them there, and they just kind of sat on their butt and they missed it? Or do you think they're going to go offensive tackle or Herbert? I don't think they'll go Herbert here. I guess maybe I'm with Blake. No tackle, but here we're about to find out.
Yeah, their pick is. I think they're going to go. They're going to go tackle. They're going to get somebody that can protect whoever they wind up having. I think it makes sense.
They damn sure can't be sold on Tyrod Taylor getting another wind and making a run this late in his career. So he's not it.
Don't sleep on Tyrod Taylor.
I was gonna say, like, for somebody that's a Ravens fan, that like Tyler Taylor was decent. Was pretty decent.
He's not a franchise quarterback.
He's not.
A stopgap. He's a good number 2 if you've got a system in place that uses that type of quarterback. But
big time.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm not, like I told you before, I'm not real high on Herbert, but
I'm not either.
I hadn't really thought about the whole Lawrence thing, and them finishing, in the bottom of the league and taking that number 1 pick next year does make a lot of sense, especially in that contract situation. Now, we've been talking about the top 3 quarterbacks, right? Another quarterback that a lot of people are saying could potentially go in the first round, Jordan Love. Hold that. I want to get your thoughts as the selection's coming in. And it's Justin Herbert.
Wow.
Herbert
We're all wrong.
6. Wow.
All wrong.
Look, wow.
The thing is, I'll give it. He did in Oregon. It's not exactly a pro offense, not a system. It might not be the best fit for him. He is an average athletic runner. He's got a huge arm. So I think maybe they just thought what they were seeing wasn't reflective of the pro game.
Blake, shocked?
Yeah. No, I mean, I don't necessarily think I'm shocked. I pointed it out earlier. If you have a guy that he can sit behind for a year, kind of like, what the intention was with Baker Mayfield in Cleveland, you can afford to take a guy like this. And what Mike just said makes a lot of sense too. It's not your prototypical pro offense, but what happened with Marcus Mariota. He was more of that Oregon mold, right? And look at the NFL career he had, not that good. So, I mean, if what Mike is saying is some is true, this could be not a bad pick.
The only thing I'll say on Herbert, the couple of games that I watched, and I didn't watch full games, I just watched a couple of highlights on him a few times. He seemed to kind of buckle under pressure. Mm-hmm. So you need to have a good offensive line, and they just don't right now. So I'm hoping, at least for his sake, they make up with this, later in the draft with some offensive line help for sure.
God, I mean, there was times where Phillip Rivers would just get crushed.
I know, exactly.
Yeah, I don't. Well, they got their guy, maybe, unless they wanted Tua and they missed out.
Somebody earlier, one of the playmakers said that the Dolphins could be drafting a quarterback 2 years in a row. You might see the Chargers draft a quarterback 2 years in a row.
Yeah, right. That could very well be. Well, I mean, now I will say this, Herbert, I don't think will be that day 1 starter. Like we talked about Tua potentially being a day 1 starter. I don't see that with Herbert at all, especially considering they do have Tyrod Taylor there. I do think that they'll give him time to develop. And to your point, if they are thinking about quote unquote tanking next year, Tyrod's their better option in doing that, in my opinion. And then you start drafting some help for Herbert next year.
Interesting. Do you think could the Chargers trade up and wind up, leveraging some picks, especially some picks next year, even some picks this year, to get that offensive line help?
Potentially.
I just don't know that there's much at the end of the first round, and I said it a minute ago about the Dolphins picks. I just don't see that much offensive line talent that has a low first-round grade. I think your top 4 guys, and we talked about it before we went on air, there's really 4 guys that you can plug and play right now, and outside of those 4 guys, I don't see much that I would trade up, at least much I would mortgage the future on.
Right. Completely agree. All right, so the Carolina Panthers are on the clock, and it didn't take long.
It's got to be Derek Brown, right?
It's got to be. It's got to be Derek Brown, or maybe, like I said, the positionless one in Isaiah Simmons. Yeah. It makes sense here. But Derek Brown, dude, he's got to be the best defensive tackle to come out of the draft really since Aaron Donald.
Or do they get do they get somebody to help protect Murray and go with a Wirfs or a Willis? Could you see one of those two guys here go here to give him that protection? I honestly think I can see Willis going here because they want somebody that can provide that protection.
I can see him going O-line, but I don't know how you pass Derek Brown here for them with the fit, or it's Isaiah Simmons. I think that's the hard part there.
I think it's one. Yeah,
they're high up on the big board for everybody. I think you just can't pass it, and you have a need for both of them. I think it's just the fit almost on the defensive side of the ball.
I think they might go Simmons here.
But I'm also, when I hear Panthers, I think Ron Rivera, and it's just not him anymore. It's Rule.
I know, right?
So it could totally be a different world.
And I'm like, oh,
yeah.
They need Isaiah Simmons.
Looks like the playmakers are agreeing with you guys in Simmons going.
Yeah, that's where I'm thinking. I'm having a brain fart. Who's the new quarterback for the Panthers?
For the Teddy Bridgewater.
Bridgewater.
Mr. Undefeated.
That's right. Right. That's a guy that I think he's got a legit shot. If he can stay healthy, I think he's got a legit shot at being okay, especially having, Christian McCaffrey down there, who is an absolute animal. I think he'll be in the running for Player of the Year, MVP next year. He was right up there. Considering they had such a crappy year, he was still right in the mix. That dude, the most versatile back I've seen in the league, probably since like LaDainian Tomlinson. I compare him to LaDainian Tomlinson.
I liken the Panthers quarterback situation a little bit to what the Eagles were a handful of years ago, where they took Mike Vick as kind of that Band-Aid stopgap.
Yeah. I
kind of compare Bridgewater to that. They're going to use him for 2, 3, maybe 4 years, see what happens. If they end up having if they're in a position where they could trade up or take a quarterback with their pick, they'll get their next guy. They're just not in a position right now where they need to rush it.
What makes me laugh about Carolina, and I kind of respect them for it. They have no qualms about shitting on their star players. No, we saw it with Steve Smith. We saw it with Cam Newton. They have no qualms of just, see you later, buddy. It is a business.
Yeah. Where do you think he ends up?
I don't know. What teams out there have a need at this point? The two teams that I thought might be a fit, maybe Jacksonville is like the last one I could think that might be a fit for him.
Yeah. I still think New England or Chicago.
You still think New England?
New England or Chicago. It depends on, I think where he goes depends on what happens this weekend. I think if you get a team like, the Patriots, who maybe take a flyer on a guy like a Jordan Love, hey, maybe he's not a great fit up there, and they'll roll with, Hoyer for a year, and, what happens. Or they tank and take Lawrence, and then they're back in a dynasty. But
right.
They, I don't really see anywhere that it makes sense. Okay, that's the place.
Right. Yeah, you bring up Jordan Love, and that's who I was going to bring up before we started talking. There's a lot of people that are either on one end of the fence or the other end of the fence with this guy. They like him a lot, and they compare him to Mahomes as far as his athleticism goes. And then there's people that just think this guy is completely inaccurate, will never make it as an NFL quarterback. Where do you guys sit on Jordan Love?
I'm out.
Yeah.
I don't think he's going first round.
Wow.
You don't think he's going first round at all?
I don't think we're going to have another quarterback.
Wow.
I still think there's a little bit of smoke at the end of the year about the Jordan Love Saints love interest, no pun intended. And I still think there's some traction to that. Got nothing to base that off of, pure speculation, but I think with Breeze being where he is in his career and the rest of that roster pretty much being ready to go right now, the only thing they would need when Breeze steps away is a quarterback. So it's one of those things that maybe you take him and let him learn for a year or two, and then it kind of becomes one of those, Favre Rodgers situations.
So you're not sold on Taysom Hill being the next franchise quarterback for the Saints?
No. Well, that is the biggest gimmick in football is Taysom Hill. So.
Yeah, I do think he's.
Don't get me wrong. I hope I'm wrong, but I don't see him being the future.
I like his role in that offense, and I don't think he'd have a similar role in any other offense. I think Sean Payton's very, very creative in the way that they use him, but I can't see him being out there every down and being the catalyst of that offense. I just don't see it working for them.
I'm pretty boring when I talk about football. You can't turn the ball over, and he just makes too many plays that puts the ball at risk.
Here's the
pick. It's in. Panthers select Derek Brown, and there it is.
Okay, that makes sense.
Least shocking. I think that's the least shocking pick so far.
Safe pick. I mean, that's
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 the way I put it. Safe pick.
Yeah, a big win for them. Like I said, I was really high on this guy. When you watch him, I mean, he looks like he's playing against, peewee football guys. He just absolutely dominates offensive linemen, throws them into the ground. One of the most fierce defensive tackles I've seen, like I said, since Aaron Donald.
And I would argue that if this wasn't such a quarterback heavy draft in the top 5, he'd have been probably a top 2 or 3 pick.
Absolutely. I wouldn't fight you if you said that he's probably the best player in this draft. I think he could very well end up being the best player in this draft. We'll see.
I think it's a toss-up between him and Chase Young. Chase Young's just a freak of nature, but this guy can do a little bit of everything. He can play inside, he can play outside, he gets to the quarterback, he plays the run well. I mean, I think it's one of those guys that you can slide him from nose tackle out to 5 tech, and he won't skip a beat.
Right. And that's crazy because this guy is huge. When you watch it, considering lining him out, at the 5 technique from a guy that size, unreal, unreal.
And a guy that will get there. That's that size.
Right.
And then he's coming from the SEC. He's got the pedigree. He's playing against some of the best offensive linemen out there. I mean, I'm not doubting this guy at all.
Exactly.
But this is where it's going to get real interesting because now you've got Arizona on the clock. You got to think they're going to go offensive tackle.
Absolutely.
Oh, if they don't, I would be.
You got the Browns coming up. You've got the Jets coming up. We could see quite a little run on offensive tackles here.
This is where I have the run going in my my mock draft. Blake, I think this is a great fit for your guy, Tristan Wirfs.
Yeah, I do too. I think I could see a lot. I could see 2 different things, kind of the same situation as the Giants here. I don't think you're going to be wrong with taking one of the tackles, or I've had them in most of my mock drafts taking Isaiah Simmons.
Okay.
What? I haven't talked to any of you guys yet about the magic trick that they pulled on the Texans to be able to get DeAndre Hopkins.
That made no sense whatsoever.
Bill O'Brien, what are you doing?
What? And rumors came out today that the Ravens were actually in talks with the Texans to get DeAndre Hopkins when all that went down. And apparently, somehow, it ended up going to Arizona. So you pair DeAndre Hopkins with what's his name, Christian Kirk out there, right? You got 2 good wide receivers there. You just get, I think, Kyler Murray a little bit of protection. He showed promise this year. I think Arizona could turn around and be a really good team this year.
And the Cardinals pick is in.
Let's go. There's a lot of cheering going on. I don't know who that is.
Is that Isaiah?
No, that was Derek Brown's family.
Oh, was that Derek Brown? Okay, I couldn't tell.
This is all. Oh, it was still talking Auburn. Okay. Interesting. So Arizona has one of the worst defenses, but they also have to protect Kyler Murray. So this is kind of a what do you do here? You take the freak athlete Isaiah Simmons, who can play pretty much anything, and really help your defense, or do you protect Kyler Murray? I gotta think they're gonna protect Kyler Murray.
Yeah, they gave up 50 sacks last year.
Here's the thing, though. They just re-signed DJ Humphries to a 3-year deal. So I don't know. I don't know that it's that critical of a need. They need it. Don't get me wrong. It's a need. But what's more of a critical need for this team? Is it a true number 1 leader on defense, or is it a tackle when you just re-signed one?
Yeah, that's very true. That's very true. And look, they do need help on the defensive side of the ball. So in Isaiah Simmons, I don't think anybody really expected Isaiah Simmons to fall to 8. I didn't. I thought he'd be a top 5 pick just because, like I said, I think he's one of the better defensive players in this draft. So Arizona might be licking their chops seeing him there at 8. Might make a lot of sense. Pick is in. Let's see what he says.
Steve Keim looked like an old man trying to work his TiVo. That was incredible.
Arizona Cardinals select Isaiah Simmons.
Wow.
There it is.
The Browns are disappointed. Dave,
Chris,
what you thought he was going to Cleveland?
I thought he was going to fall to Cleveland. I got my hopes up just like I do every year with the Browns. Never happens. You know, if he had fallen to us at 10, we wouldn't have taken him. So doesn't matter.
Cliff Kingsbury, man, he's got the setup there.
Yeah, he does.
Man, man, that's the house.
That's a squad that can move.
He's got to talk to Gettleman about what Gettleman's got going on over there. He's got to up his game. There's no hope.
I'll tell you what, though, we make fun of them taking the two quarterbacks, back-to-back years and whatnot. But I think in 2 years since they made the transition with the head coach and the GM there, they've done a lot of good there in Arizona, man. To be able to, like I said, be able to pull in DeAndre Hopkins, Kyler Murray's worked out so far. You get one of the best defensive players in the draft in Isaiah Simmons. Things are looking up for Arizona.
I mean, did you see that? The ATN, their running back from Clemson, they were just showing a race between him and Isaiah Simmons, and Isaiah Simmons beat him.
It was literally by the front side of his foot, and they're showing now some of the snaps. There's over 280 at slot, 218 at the safety position. Like, it's crazy the ability and the flexibility this kid has.
6'3", 238 pounds, and I think he ran a 4.39.
So are we getting worse? Are the Browns getting worse now?
I think we might go Jordan Love.
Oh, God, please don't do that to me.
Well, that puts the Jacksonville Jaguars.
See, this is where I see you see like the Jets move in here to get their tackle. This is where you might see a trade.
Dump the
Browns and Jets might move here to get the one they really like.
Make
if
that
they have a
jump.
preference.
Oh, I hope this isn't a classic Browns where we just give away everything to move up one spot. Don't do that. There's if you want to tackle, there's only one off the board.
Well, here's the thing. Jacksonville has some needs on the defensive side of the ball. They got a bad need for corner. They got a bad need for linebacker, a bad need for edge rusher. They just got rid of Calais Campbell to us. So they need some defensive help. So unless you're looking at a guy like C.J. Henderson, the other cornerback I was telling you about earlier out of Florida, I think this might be a spot for Jacksonville. But
who's their quarterback? Is it still Gardner Minshew?
It's Gardner Minshew right now. But like I said earlier, I think that could be a spot you might see Cam Newton end up.
Okay.
Oh, it's a good fit.
Yeah. They need the veteran quarterback down there. They need a change in look. They need somebody to sell some jerseys down there.
Yeah.
Put some asses in the seats.
I think Newton would pair well with Fournette as well.
Yeah, I agree. Although they were shopping Fournette.
I know they were shopping him, but I think Newton's a guy who can kind of handle tough attitudes in the locker room. He's a very fun guy. I think he can really help control that.
I agree.
So, Chris, are we going to mess this up? We've got about 8 minutes before the Browns pick here.
Yes, we are. We're going to take Becton with works
I have a weird feeling
on the board
that we're going to take CeeDee Lamb, the Oklahoma wide receiver.
Holy cow! Really? Who did he throw the ball? How many targets is he going to
get? No reason. You got a guy like Hollywood Higgins that you could just easily sign for not that much money. I have a weird feeling we're going to go wide receiver. You remember Andrew Berry back in 2016 was in the room with Sashi Brown when they drafted Corey Coleman.
Yeah.
You would think he would learn from the mistake, but
Corey Coleman, who famously is the how would you say it? He's he's the oil that made us go 0-16. He was that final cherry on top of that dessert when he dropped the ball against the Pittsburgh Steelers. I was sitting there hoping we would not go 0-16, hoping we wouldn't have that stupid parade, sitting at a BW3 in Medina, Ohio, and watching that asshole drop that ball.
No way the Browns go wide receiver.
I got a very
Odell with Jarvis. No way you guys F it up that bad.
I have a very odd feeling
that
this is going to be a corner.
This is what I do. I just set myself up for
I do. I think Jacksonville here at 9 goes corner. I think they go C.J. Henderson, and I think you guys pick from the litter at tackle there. I think that's the smart thing for you guys to do.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
See, I think the Jaguars, Trayvon Diggs is a good fit for them, and I don't think he's going to come off the next few. So this is why I see them trading it out a little bit.
No, that's true. Maybe.
He's a big corner. They like that. That's the kind of defensive back they want to put in their scheme.
Bold prediction. I think that the Browns, I'm changing my mind. I think they are going to trade down. It's going to be the first trade of the draft.
Okay. Yeah. Are you guys surprised? No trades yet.
I am surprised.
I am.
Yeah, me too.
I think it's because it's not a super heavy quarterback draft. I mean, a lot of times you'll have some fringe guys that could kind of fall. You don't really have that. You had a couple guys here, and that's basically it.
Well, I don't know. You got 3 that went already in the top 9 picks. You got Jordan Love, who a lot of people were saying
that's true.
Could fall to maybe the Patriots at 23. The Patriots take a Jordan Love. Who knows? So you could still see 4 quarterbacks go in this draft, but I think we're done with that. I don't think anybody's trading up to take Jordan Love.
Right.
This is going to be a team going up and getting their guy, right? Like this is going to be somebody who values somebody important and going up and getting their guy.
Do you think we haven't seen any trades just because of the depth at each position? Like at some point, are we going to see the trade start to happen because people are going to start to see that difference between the next guy off the board at that position?
Or maybe in these Zoom calls, they don't know how to process.
I was just about to say they can't get the trade button to work. The trade button.
They're like me looking for the background. Like they're sitting there going, okay, what button do we hit?
I know
it's by the video camera. It's the picture of the player.
Oh,
just click on the player. Just click on it. Well, I want to trade a draft pick. Yes, but you click on the player and then you select it. You want to draft. Oh, never mind. We're just going to take the pick.
We're just going to make a pick no matter what.
Hey guys,
just give us Andrew Thomas. Whatever.
Is there any way for you guys to draft Johnny Football again?
Just shut up. Just stop.
Leave him out of this.
Actually, that question was asked. It was asked in the chat room. Just to say.
I've got it right here. I got the man. The myth,
is that a voodoo doll? I think it's a voodoo doll at this point.
It is. It's Johnny.
That's great.
It's Manzelf. Every year, that's our. You know how you have the elf on the shelf? That's our Manzelf off the shelf that we use every year. We actually do it in our family. Yeah.
The kids
we're weird like that.
The kids just in the liquor cabinet.
Why is it not a Manzel on the floor?
There you go. That would work too. We do. He's always in the booze closet or with Barbies, like naked Barbies. I did that one year. In the sink in the bathroom, so it kind of looks like he's in a hot tub.
What has he got going on in his closets? It's weird.
Kids love it. It's good Christmas fun, wholesome.
Man, yeah. So we're getting close to that. I think wide receiver run that we were talking about earlier. I think, like I said, once that first one comes off the board, you're going to start seeing them fall. I think when we get to pick 11 right after you guys, but hold that thought as the selection is in. Jaguars select
CJ Henderson.
I called it.
Wow.
There it is.
Nice.
So there it is.
Yeah.
So there it is.
This has been a pretty predictable draft so far. No big surprises, man.
Well, I don't think anybody had Wirfs still on the board, though. I didn't see anybody having Wirfs on the board for Cleveland.
No. Not this late.
Anytime you can get a tackle out of the Big Ten, Wisconsin, Iowa, Ohio State, whatever, I think that's a no-brainer for the Browns.
Are you going Wirfs or are you going Wills?
I would go Wirfs.
Yeah,
I like Wills.
Really? What? So, Speed, why do you like Wills over Wirfs here?
I just think he's a little more ready. That's all.
You like it because of the program or what?
Yeah, and I think Wirfs, like Blake's been saying, I see it as I don't want to see him go into guard. I want to tackle here. I want the anchor of the line. I think Wills is a guarantee here.
Okay. How's your guys' anxiety level right now?
It's awful.
You guys doing all right?
Oh, yeah.
I'm anxious for them.
You guys need a Papa Zoloft or anything? You okay?
I might
just
need
don't
few.
talk right
Oh,
now.
God, the pick is in already.
This
wow.
Oh,
all right.
God.
I think
I can't hit the button fast enough.
Trade?
They just didn't want to screw it up.
All of our big play guys are more like.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Wow, they didn't waste it. Or was this pick traded? That's why it was.
That's what I'm thinking.
I don't know.
Or their guys. I think it's their guys there, so they're taking him.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. Here's something I just thought of. You know, Vegas and the Jets both evidently are high on CD Lamb.
Yeah.
Could you trade back with the Raiders here, get one of the 2 remaining tackles, and pick up an extra pick somewhere?
Yeah,
I wouldn't hate it at this point.
I think you're spot on. The Jets and the Raiders there. I think both
Somebody's jumping up to grab a receiver here.
Yeah, I agree. I think the Raiders have got their guy. They don't want to take the risk on the Jets taking him, and they make the move. I agree.
And if it's not a trade, I think the analytics just showed that the Browns, their tackle was still on the board, and they didn't expect it, and they just hit that button real quick.
Who's the best punter available?
Oh,
Now,
gosh.
where do you have him? He's
Let's
from
not talk about
Scotland.
it.
Jamie Gillan.
The Hammer.
Oh man, would be a classic Clowns pick.
You stop with the clowns crap.
I forgot my bold prediction, by the way. I think that the Ravens are actually going to trade up in the first round.
Yeah.
And take a quarterback and move Lamar Jackson to his
No.
natural running back.
No. Not bad for a running back.
What's funny is I actually did say the Ravens trade up in this draft to get Mekhi Becton because he's going to fall, and he's so far he's showing he's continuing to fall.
We have bookend tackles, Scott. We don't need them.
Yeah,
we got Stanley and we got Orlando Brown. We're good.
I think he can make the move to right guard and be able to fill in, even if it's at a depth position.
I think we do go right guard, but it's or guard, but that's at pick 28. I think that's safe.
How long is this pick going to be in?
It's going to be in for a while, so you might want to grab a pill, chill out a little bit. It's
I think
here goes.
There you go.
Here's the kid announcing it. This kid, this is the kid who's beaten cancer. I think I saw the story earlier.
Yeah, Jarvis Landry's buddy. Yep.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Oh God, don't say it.
What's he saying? This kid's going to be even more scarred for life if this doesn't work out.
Stop talking.
Poor kid.
Got a feeling it's going to be Mekhi Becton.
I'm going to take my headphones off.
Jedrick Wills.
There it is.
There you go.
There it is. So you got your tackle. Maybe it wasn't.
Very happy with
Solid
that.
pick.
Yeah. I don't think you were going wrong there with either one. Really, any of those three. I know you guys weren't real high on Becton, but I think any of those three would have done the job there for you guys.
Yep.
And Becton was definitely my least favorite out of those three. But yeah, I'm very happy with Wills. I had him,
Chris,
as my
you're
top
like
lineman.
you're just staring off. Are you good with this pick? Are you happy?
I wanted worse, but all right.
Okay.
That was emphatic.
Blake, you're late.
I also had a tweet just all set up, so
Oh wow! So you got to edit it.
No one will ever know, and no one will ever know what I had. Welcome to Cleveland, Jedrick Wills.
6'4", 312 pounds. It's a big boy.
That is a big boy. Good Lord, look at him sitting there. Oh my gosh. All right.
I don't think you can go wrong. He's in a big boy program. He's a big boy. You plug him in there. I think he's ready to go, and he's going to be a starter on this line, obviously.
The only thing that he's got to make the adjustment is if they're going to move him to the left side of the line and be a left tackle to protect the blind side. He did protect Tua's blind side, but obviously he was on the right side of the line. So if they're going to move him to the left side.
Thomas, our greatest pick of all time, was talking about that the other day, and he thinks, for the adjustment from right tackle to left tackle or vice versa is a 2 to 3 month learning curve.
Okay.
And so as long as these guys can get in there and practice, once things get a little bit back to normalcy here, I think he should be okay.
Okay. Fair enough.
But that's also coming from Joe Thomas, one of the greatest offensive tackles, and that might be his timeline.
I love.
So you think he's on the left side of the Browns line?
Yeah,
I think so.
I don't see any reason why you would move Conklin, because Conklin's played right in Tennessee for since he's been there. I'm pretty sure, because they've had Taylor Lewan on the left side, haven't they?
Yes.
Yeah. So
huge signing for you guys, man. Conklin's going to be a great anchor for you guys on the right side. You move Willis over to the left side. You were for what, 1,400 yards with Nick Chubb last year? He could go for 1,700 yards easily this year.
Yep. That's fair.
The Jets are on the clock. 4 minutes left for the Jets. We talked about it earlier. This is probably where we'll see the start of the wide receivers kind of falling off the table here. But you talk about the top three: CeeDee Lamb, Jerry Jeudy, and Ruggs. Blake, I'll start with you. If the Jets go wide receiver here, which one do you think they take?
I think everybody's in agreement. CeeDee Lamb's the best receiver on the board. We talked about it on our show a little bit last week when we went over the AFC. I'm not sold that this is a wide receiver at this pick. I see this as the caveat I had is if they trade for Trent Williams, then it's definitely a receiver. But if they didn't make a deal for Trent Williams, I could see them taking Mekhi Becton here. They got to have a tackle to protect Sam Darnold. I mean, it doesn't matter who he's throwing to if he's on his back. So, I mean, that's I wouldn't be surprised if it's a receiver here. I think CeeDee Lamb's a sensible pick here. If they have a deal pending for Trent Williams, that's the only reason I would not take a tackle here.
Okay, it's a good point, and there is a lot of depth in this wide receiver class.
Yep.
A lot of really good talent that's going to be had in the second and third rounds. Beats, what's your take here with the Jets at 11?
I actually agree with Blake here. I can see a Josh Jones as well. And I think it's purely the depth that we've been talking about. The receiving depth, more linemen have come off the board. They have a chance to move around and do something a little bit later in this round if they go tackle now, get a guy they want, and still add a lot of talent in the receiving core, which they desperately need.
Yeah. Scott, you got any feelings?
I think for me, like, I could see them going a Wirfs here. They need some additional help on the offensive line, so I could see them going that. But I think Blake, I think you bring a great point. They could really use a guy like CeeDee Lamb right now with everything, with all the failures they've had at wide receiver, so to speak. I really do think they could go that route, but I wouldn't be surprised if they took Wirfs because there is so much value later in the second, or early in the second and late in the third round.
Yeah, and look, they lost Robbie Anderson last year, so they are in need of wide receiver, but can't throw the ball to your wide receiver if you're getting hit all the time, and Sam Darnold needs some protection up there, so I definitely think offensive line makes a lot of sense here, for sure.
Here's a good question for everybody. Who would you say is the last good Jets wide receiver?
Last good Jets wide receiver.
Braylon Edwards.
Oh, God.
There you
Honestly,
go. Nice.
That's who I thought was Braylon. I mean, honestly, that's the last one that comes to mind for me. I mean, do you consider Eric Decker a good receiver?
No.
I mean, no, not at that point in his career.
No.
Pretty good fantasy receiver, but
Keyshawn Johnson. Keyshawn. Remember Keyshawn Johnson?
Yeah. Wayne
Otherwise
Corbett?
known as Michon. Throw me the damn ball. He wrote the book literally called Throw Me the Damn Ball.
Where does Wayne Corbett fit into that
That's
trio of wide receivers, right? I don't
Wayne
know who
Corbett.
played when. Those are like the only three wide receivers for the Jets I can even think of.
Wayne Corbett was before. That was a long time ago.
Was it really? Wow.
Yeah.
So here's your handful that come up when you type in famous Jets wide receivers.
Wow, this is good.
Rashad Perriman, Josh Doxson, Quincy Enunwa.
Rashad.
That's who they have right now.
Yeah,
That's
that's
currently
just,
have. Yeah.
That's their current.
But I'm saying, well, they don't. I mean, still, it's terrible. It's so bad.
Rashad Perryman. That's a curse word around here.
The pick is in.
Loved him until we got
picks
Odell.
Here we go.
That just means it's going to be another 5 minutes before they announce it. So go ahead.
James said Santana Moss.
Oh,
That's probably
Forgot about Santana Moss. That's actually a good pool. Good pool.
Would you say Kotchery maybe too?
Oh, Kotchery. Yeah. Okay. That's a good one. I mean, good for the Jets, right? That's what we're talking about here. Good for the Jets.
It's all relative with the Jets.
It's all relative.
Yeah.
So they got Mel Kiper's board up there. Best available players: Judy, Wirfs, Kinlaw, Lamb, and McKinney. Kinlaw is a guy we haven't talked about a whole lot lately out of South Carolina. He's the number 2 defensive tackle on the board. What's your guys' take on Kinlaw? Do you see him as a top 15 pick, or do you think he ends up falling?
I see him going I had him going to the Jaguars as a need at 20. That's where I kind of marked him.
Okay.
He's just a force inside. You're going to need a double team if he decides to bull rush. But yeah, I don't have him that high, but that just because I think the receivers are going to make that run here.
There was a big consensus that the Cowboys were all in on Kinlaw.
I was just getting ready to say that. That was one of the things I heard was they were ready to go with getting him.
But my opinion with the Cowboys, though, is yes, edge rusher is a need, but you have 2 guys who have reinstatements pending in Randy Gregory and Alden Smith. So if both those guys are reinstated, you got who do you put on the edge? There's only 2 edges to an offensive line, right? So it's one of those things where I don't know that D-line is necessarily their biggest need. I think you got to replace Byron Jones, and a guy like Jalen Johnson makes a lot of sense to me.
I can definitely see that happening to the Cowboys, but another team even earlier than the Cowboys, if the Cowboys don't move, that might see some value in Kinlaw might be the Atlanta Falcons. Falcons have a big need on the defensive line. He would be a great fit there. And that's a guy that wait a minute.
Here we go. He's getting ready to make the announcement. They should have shot a CeeDee Lamb right before.
Cameras are on the TV, so
Mekhi Becton
is.
Oh, I said it. Hey,
wow! Good call, Blake. Good call.
Yeah,
wow. Mekhi Becton.
I didn't really see Wirfs falling out of the top 10. I'm really surprised.
Whoa, who's that chick?
The one guy they had that could have possibly dropped in the
CeeDee Lamb's girlfriend. Ooh. Sorry. Oh, is this live?
Yes, we're live. Your mic is on.
Oh.
Your mic is on.
Hot mic.
I'm just hanging on the beach.
Just taking screenshots on the
Make
beach.
sure she stays 6 feet away, though. You make sure she stays 6 feet away.
Chris has had one too many Mai Tais.
She'll be staying much more than 6 feet away. The court order is going to say stay more than 6 feet away. Trust me.
That's great.
Oh, Becton's
guys
looking
think
like he ain't happy. Oh,
now
my
you talk
God,
about big boys,
Holy
6'7",
crap.
364 pounds. That's two men. That's not one.
Woo.
That's a tackle and a guard rolled into one body.
And
That's
dual
a whole-
athlete. He played basketball at one point too.
Oh, yeah, he looks like Shaq
Oh,
when
my
Shaq
God.
was like 45.
Heaviest player to run a sub 5.2 since 2005.
Wow.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Look at him go. Good Lord.
5'10".
Look at him in the paint. Sign him up to play for the Cavs.
He could shoot threes just like the others.
Right.
Wow,
That's
that is a massive human being.
Oh, man.
If you're
I
the
mean,
Broncos, are
literally-
you just you just pumped up right now having Judy fall to you?
Yeah, I mean, you got all three. You got the pick of the litter right now, man. I mean,
That is it.
obviously,
That is if the Niners don't stab one of those guys.
Niners are going to stab wide receiver right here.
That feels like a very San Francisco move would be to take Judy right there for
San Francisco's looking to trade out. But if they stay put and they can't find the value that they're looking for to make that trade, I do think that they go wide receiver.
But the question I would have for you guys is, all right, there's so many, I don't want to say needs, but there's a little bit of inconsistency with what you see out of the Raiders. What are the Raiders really truly looking for at this pick?
They're
I
definitely
love-
looking wide
It's
receiver.
got to be a weapon. It's
I
gotta be
love
a
that
weapon.
Gruden is drafting right now with his dog. It's just him and his dog in the draft room, in the war room. He's like, I'll tell you what, man. And he's just going to pick whoever the hell he wants to because he owns Las Vegas now.
Here's the thing with the Raiders, and I think they tried to do it last year with the whole Antonio Brown fiasco. If
Yeah.
you really want to if you want to put the final finishing touches on crucifying Derek Carr, you got to get him a weapon. And then when he fails again this year, then we got you all these weapons. We replaced Amari Cooper. We got you a good running back. Your offensive line's not bad. You got a good tight end. Why can't you get it done?
Right.
Wow. They're showing Becton pushing a Ford F-150 with its brakes on.
Oh, yeah. It's
hill.
Magnuson.
Holy cow.
Wow.
Yeah, but what did the Raiders do last year? They signed like 13 wide receivers, right? I don't think 12 of them worked out, including Antonio Brown. So I definitely think wide receiver makes a lot of sense here. John Gruden's all about getting playmakers. It was obviously the first move that he made when he went in there. He kind of cleaned house of his guys that he didn't want there, including Khalil Mack, which I still don't understand that. Mind blown over that move. But man, they've got the pick of litter.
Although Mack had an underwhelming year for his standards. So
True.
We have a bold prediction coming in, and it's one of our fans from Birdland. He says Ravens are going to take the 49ers pick here.
I don't think that's that bold. I said that was my kind of pick. I thought, listen, the Ravens have 9 draft picks. They've got the first, they've got 2 in the
13?
second, 2 in the third, right? They could get rid of a second and a third, move up to 13, and go and get a Jerry Jeudy.
Well, I'll tell you what, Gruden is happy right now with whatever pick they've made.
He looks like he got frozen.
Yeah, he was stuck with that fist up for so long. He was like, we got it.
Did somebody spray him with carbonite? What the hell's going on?
The
I
weirdest
tell
fist
you what,
pump.
man.
The fist pump without the pump.
Look at the vein coming out of that forearm. My God.
Oh, man.
Look like Mike in high school on the weekends. It's ridiculous.
And then there's Mike Mayock, who's like literally halfway in between like his living room and his kitchen.
Not a fan of those cabinets and countertops.
No.
He needs to upgrade. He's got the money to.
Needs a new interior decorator. What the hell is that?
Right.
Question that decision making by the GM. Come on,
All right, well,
Mayock.
here we go. The pick is in. We're going to hear Goodell.
My prediction, Fred, who you think it is?
I think it's CeeDee Lamb.
Yeah, I would say Lamb.
CeeDee Lamb, yep.
It sounds like a very Gruden-esque pick.
12th pick. Raiders select Las Vegas Raiders. Henry Ruggs.
Wow.
Al Davis from
Wow.
Parts Beyond is screaming, "Take the speed, take the
Speed,
speed."
He is pumping his fist in that coffin right now. Holy cow. Wow.
From the grave, he's still influencing Raiders draft selections. That's awesome.
He's a burner.
He's absolutely the fastest guy in this draft. So, I mean, if you're looking to add speed, you found the guy. He's not the best route runner in this draft, but I actually compare Henry Ruggs a lot to Hollywood Brown. I think they have a similar skill set. I think speed-wise and how they'll affect the offense are very, very similar.
What I was impressed by him was that he didn't just outrun somebody. He would make tough catches with somebody in the red zone, 20, 25-yard pass. So I think he's going to be a great pro. I think of Tyreek Hill, honestly, just tougher, even though he's a little smaller.
He can be a
absolute
fighter.
blazer, real simple stride. I'm a big fan of them, but I did not see this coming.
No.
Gurdon is happy as hell right now.
I love that. Look at that war room right there.
That's
Just a
awesome.
bunch of Grudenites.
Mike Mayock looks like he's in a freaking townhouse.
Literally, there's Mike Mayock's fridge in the background. Oh my God.
There are Vikings fans on Twitter just saying trade everything to go up and get a receiver right here. Trade the whole draft. Just send it all to San Francisco.
That was one of the things I said. I could see the Vikings trading up in this draft because they need somebody. And once the first one goes, it's going to be a mad dash for those wide receivers that are left.
Come on, Ravens. This is where I see the Ravens moving up. 13, we got the 49ers on the clock. We got 5.5 minutes to go. 49ers do have some needs, but like I said, they've got nothing in the meat and the potatoes of this draft. Nothing from second to fourth. They got a couple in 5, 6, and 7, but that's it. They got 2 in the first round, 13 and 31. They said that we're shopping both picks or potentially one, just kind of depending upon the value.
Fred, who would you be trading up for here?
So there's only 2 positions I would trade up for in this draft. If I'm the Ravens, I'm trading up for another wide receiver because outside of Hollywood, our wide receivers are trash. So I'm looking at Jerry Jeudy here because he's the best route runner in this draft, and I think he'd be a difference maker in this offense. Or I don't think I'm going to 13 here. I might go into the top, I might go into 20 if I'm the Ravens, and I'm looking at Clavon Chason, the edge rusher out of LSU.
Okay.
That would be a big addition for us on the defensive side.
Now, I do remember this offseason, there was a skills challenge. Lamar Jackson throwing the accurate balls out there.
Really?
He missed every single one of them. I'm not sure you want a route runner here. I think maybe you need more of an athlete just because you don't know where that ball's going to go.
MVP. That's it.
How'd Baker finish the end of the year?
Oh.
See, that's all. I had to get my dig in before
you got to.
or Baker or anything.
I don't know, man. I don't see the 49ers staying here. I do think that this is somewhere where they might get some values. There's been a lot of players that have dropped. I didn't think that we'd have 2 wide receivers still on the board at 13.
Well,
2 of the top 3.
Fred, we do need a number 1 receiver. Maybe we should trade for Odell here.
There you go.
Hell no. You can keep that cancer over there in Cleveland.
Here was my thing with the Raiders, and I'll get your guys' take on it. I thought where they were put them in a good position to take Patrick Queen because you still need that field general middle linebacker that you really you let C.J. Mosley walk, which was I still think their biggest offseason blunder of the last 3 years easily. Granted, he was asking for quite a bit, but I mean, you need that middle of the pack headhunter guy, and I think Patrick Queen can be that guy.
100% agree.
But I don't think you can trade up to get him.
We talked the other day on our show. I have a couple different scenarios. I think if they're going to trade up, because Eric DaCosta, our GM, has talked about making this offense indefensible and putting as many playmakers around Lamar as possible, right? So if they're going to trade up, that's what they're doing. They're putting a playmaker around Lamar. I do think if they stay put at 28, Patrick Queen, Kenneth Murray, or offensive line help will be what they do at 28. They lost Marshall Yanda. They lost James Hurst. Matt Skura's got some injury question marks. So they need some help on that offensive line. They just broke the NFL rushing record for yards in a season, right? And they only did that because of the offensive line depth that they had. They need to rebuild that.
Would you be upset if they traded up here to jump Tampa Bay and took Wirfs?
I don't think they're going to go tackle unless they think Wirfs can move inside the guard.
That's what I was going to say. They can move Wirfs inside the guard to replace Yonda.
I would not be disappointed with that at all.
No,
absolutely. I never saw Wirfs coming down this far. I can't believe he's still there.
I mean, that's what we were talking about earlier in the draft. Like the mock drafts are never right when it comes to tackles.
Oh, Tampa Bay's licking their chops at 14, waiting on Wirfs. They
have their pick of whoever the heck they want.
Yeah, they're praying that this pick doesn't get traded right here. If there's somebody in the room that's just hoping to God that San Francisco holds on to this pick, it's Tampa Bay.
Well, Hold on a second. Adam Scheffler's made his first appearance on the screen. That usually means something's happening.
So it looks like the Broncos are going to move up. He's claiming the Broncos are going to move up over San Francisco.
Jerry Jeudy.
Nope, I bet this is
CeeDee Lamb.
CeeDee Lamb.
Yeah.
See, I have CeeDee Lamb, but everything I was reading was that the Broncos are in love with Jeudy, right?
The Niners are trading with the Bucks.
49ers trade for Tampa Bay.
Told you, Bucks got real nervous that somebody was coming up to get attack to get worse here. I bet
Tampa Bay's going to have back-to-back picks. Is this right?
No, I think they traded from 14.
No, I was just saying he said they traded up one pick.
Wow.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just saw Tampa Bay at 13 and 14.
Yeah, they got nervous. They're like, we have Tom Brady. We have expectations.
They have to act now.
Yeah.
So you got to think that's Wirfs, right?
Yeah.
I would think that would be worse. But if they're trading up, if they're trading up and keeping the 14th pick, or are they going worse and CeeDee Lamb back to back?
No, I think they gave up the 14th
swap.
pick.
Yeah, I think ESPN.
It was a swap, and the Niners probably picked up one of those rounds that they're missing.
Yeah, if it's a swap, I see quarterback coming off for the Niners.
Yeah, so Adam Schefter says Tampa coming up, San Francisco spot. San Francisco getting 14 and 117, giving 13, and its last 7th round pick.
Okay.
So they gave up 117.
Okay.
So San Francisco slid back one spot to pick up a 4th. That's not
pick up a 4th. That's not bad because, like I said, there's a lot of depth in that 4th round.
Yep.
So McNeil, your guy, Tristan Wirfs, I think he's going here.
Yeah.
You think so? Tampa Bay.
The pick is
protect
already
Tom Brady. Protect their newest addition.
Sounds like you were choking on that match.
I was. It hurts, man. We need to have the Tristan and Tristan show in Cleveland, not one in Tampa.
Look at Bruce Arians, just all white everything, man. Look at that guy. Clean as a whistle.
That's what happens when you're quote unquote retired in Florida.
Right.
And you just picked up Tom Brady and Rob Gronkowski.
Exactly.
Yeah. I was gonna say his age went down by about 5 years.
Yeah, right.
I know you get gray hair when you get older, but maybe he gains some actual hair.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. He's got his kids there with him. That's cool.
Yeah,
That's cool
I mean, hey, they went out and they got their guy. They didn't have to give up a ton.
No.
So
but it is one pick. They got nervous.
Let me ask this of you guys: like, with this, if this works out this year with this draft, so far we've seen it work out fairly well.
Yeah.
Is it more beneficial to get the TV money that they would get, that the NFL would get from draft, and doing this the way that they're doing it this year, or more beneficial to do it live somewhere?
No, see, you're just setting it up so that Cleveland gets screwed because we're supposed to have the draft next year. So all of a sudden the NFL goes, you know what? This is a great idea.
Let's all just stay home.
Let's just do this, man. We're saving all kinds of money. The sponsors still love it. We're still getting all those commercials jammed in there. It doesn't cost us that much. Now the infrastructure is built. Let's just use it. Sorry, Cleveland, we're not coming.
The ratings have got to be through the roof this year compared to what they've always been.
I mean, think about this right now. We're talking about like actual sports. I was playing like Zelda 2 like yesterday. Like there's nothing going on.
Exactly. I said it earlier. Like I wasted an hour of my life watching the first round of the WNBA draft the other day. I was so desperate for sports.
Yeah, this is awesome.
I wouldn't let that get out. I just
I forgot the mic was on.
Right, don't worry, I'm
hot mic.
Record.
I had one of those incidents earlier.
All right, Tampa Bay pick is in. Goodell. Let's see. I don't know what all this stuff is.
So all the first responders are Tampa Bay fans now in the Air Force.
Tampa Bay, huge naval town.
Yeah, makes sense, right?
There we go. And there is the pick.
And it is Tristan Wirfs. There you go.
Yep.
You guys got it
Makes
right.
sense.
That was a no-brainer. You got to get somebody to protect Brady because Brady isn't moving anywhere. So you got to have somebody to protect his blind side.
How do you guys think this is going to work out in Tampa Bay? Who's going to win this? Is it going to be Brady and Gronk, or will it be Belichick? I feel like you got to go with Brady and Gronk.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
As far as who's going to have the better season?
Yeah, I mean,
Oh yeah.
Can Brady and Gronk and Arians and now Tristan Wirf, can they have the success that they had in New England? Probably not the dynasty, obviously, because Tom Brady can't play till he's like 55. But could they go out and win one?
Brady's
yeah,
going, Brady's going
you
in
know
with
what
the
it feels
with
like?
the weapons already built.
When you've got Bruce Arians, who's a very good offensive coordinator calling plays, you've got Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, and you bring back Rob Gronkowski, who you've got chemistry with, they're going to do something. I don't think they're going to be Super Bowl champs. I'm not going to crown them like everybody did with the Browns last year. But I am going to say that the Buccaneers will be a playoff team. I do think they'll be a playoff team in the NFC this year.
It just feels a whole lot like the Joe Montana. Joe Montana, when he left the 49ers, goes to the Chiefs. The Chiefs are very good.
Yeah.
The Chiefs were very good. But he couldn't get over the hump. I could see the same kind of situation. Just, not for the fact that Tom Brady's completely fallen off, because I think he wouldn't, and neither did Joe at that time, but just couldn't get over the hump. Just didn't have enough. I could see a situation like that playing out.
Yeah.
And they're showing with the explosiveness with Wirfs. He's doing the whole jump out of the water thing, where he's jumping out of the water, 3.5 feet, 4 feet of water, jumping out and straight up.
That's why we should have drafted. That's why he should be a Cleveland Brown.
That definitely translates to the football field. I get it.
Yeah, and then you've got Tom Brady walking up to the pool, and he just kissed Tristan Wirfs on the mouth.
On the mouth.
Oh man, that's not social distancing at all.
Yeah, that's the one thing you get with Tom Brady is what if COVID hits the team? I mean, it's just going to go right through that team.
Oh,
it's going to rip through Tampa Bay.
See, we talked about this last night. I don't see Tampa will be good, but I don't see them being a playoff team.
Oh, okay. Really? I just saw the pool thing. You know what? That's amazing. Remember the fridge? Remember the fridge back in the day?
Yeah.
Jumping on the table in the locker room. He did the same kind of thing. And that's just amazing. It just always amazes me when these big guys can do stuff like that. Because can anybody on here do anything close to that?
We saw that a couple years ago when we drafted Brandon Williams. Brandon Williams was doing handstands at like 330 pounds, walking down the football field on his hands. Crazy.
But see, that's the thing. You joked around and said, that translates to the NFL. It actually kind of does when it comes to footwork and explosiveness.
No,
it does. His first step, it is amazing. I have to say that it does translate.
It is kind of a funny thing. Is this a new phenomenon? Because I don't know if I necessarily remember this in past drafts where they're having them do kind of freakish things. Because that's another one. We had the truck earlier, right? We were pushing the truck up, and now we got the pool. Maybe that's a new thing. Is they're going to have these freak show type of things that they're going to have.
Well, they can't go work out for these teams.
There's not this whole parade of players walking up from the green room to the stage. They got to fill air with other things right now. So they're asking their players, fill time, take video of yourself doing something crazy.
I could see producers at like NFL just like, hey, do you think you could do this? I don't know. Could you just go outside and like cut down a tree and just carry it around for a while or something?
I do wonder, because of the format of how things are this year, what the difference is in airtime between this draft, like last year's first round.
Yeah. So far, knock on wood, doesn't seem to be any tech issues that we're hearing so far. So far, so good.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this.
Yeah, it's going really well.
Could you go out to the shed? Do you happen to have like a lawn tractor? Do you think you could pick that up? That would be great. If you could do that, I think that would really be great for our
viewers. Are you talking a riding mower?
Yeah. Just go out there. Just pick it up. Just give it a try.
A new one or an old one?
New one. It'd have to be new.
If you live in
Oregon, branded.
If you live in Oregon,
drive it over.
John Deere would be all over that.
Yeah. We're thinking John Deere.
If you live in Oregon, can you go press your smart car?
Exactly.
Old riding mowers, I know from experience you can do that, but one end at a time.
Whoa, Blake!
So
are you bragging right now?
In the chat room, we got some Ravens fans being that we're streaming to the Birdland channel.
Just kidding.
Do the 49ers make another trade here to gain even more capital? Do they trade back again?
Why not?
I
Do
think
the Ravens move
49ers
up?
stand pat.
I mean, they're letting time tick. Listen, if they were going to move back, they've now had 30 minutes between these two picks to figure out what they're going to do. They haven't made that pick yet, so they're definitely on the phones. We'll see what happens here. 155 left.
I mean, what do they really need?
The 49ers or the
49ers,
Ravens?
they need some wide receiver help, like I said, which they have a ton of that in the middle of the rounds. They need some defensive tackle help, which Kinlaw, if they're going to make a pick, could be a good fit for them.
They were also really honestly needing some O-line help to help protect what's his face?
Which is
Garoppolo.
why Tampa Bay got nervous and moved up that spot.
Mm-hmm.
I see them going Trayvon Diggs here. I think they know Garoppolo is what he is. They're going to secure the defense, secure the bag that way.
Yeah.
And I think he fits them as well.
That's a good point. I hadn't really thought about that. How many years left does Richard Sherman really have of productive football? I don't even know if he's still that productive.
Yeah, how old is Richard Sherman now?
I know. He's got to be.
I think he's 31, 32.
No, he's older than that, right?
Is he older than that?
I would think.
I'm looking it up. Hang on.
All right, I'm saying the
Like
over. I'm
Blake should
pounding
know
the
this.
over on Richard Sherman.
I'd say 32.
I'm pounding the over at 31.
32
Over on 31.
years as of March
50
30th.
seconds left.
32, 33. Okay.
He just turned 32.
32,
32.
really.
About 20
Okay.
days ago.
He's literally almost 3 months older than me.
Where'd he go to school?
Stanford.
Stanford.
Just ask him. He'd tell you.
Everybody I
didn't.
talk to whenever I talk about being a Seattle fan doesn't realize that team, that Legion of Boom team, was 7 years ago.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It was 7
That's
years
crazy.
ago.
By the way,
Yeah.
30 seconds left, and San Francisco still doesn't have a pick in.
Wow.
Trade here?
I don't know what Kyle
pick just-
Shanahan's
That
doing there.
that
but
quick pick just went in.
It's a bad angle.
You know, would a guy like Xavier McKinney make sense here too? The safety.
I feel like they were definitely waiting for a trade. I think didn't happen.
John
What's
Lynch is
crazy-
on the phone. I don't know who they're showing right now. Is that
CeeDee Lamb.
Yeah. He's on the phone with somebody. Is he on the phone with the 49ers?
No, CeeDee Lamb's in the middle there with the headphones on.
Oh, yeah. So somebody else was on the phone.
Somebody else.
I mean, I'm
definitely on the
blown
phone.
away that there's only one receiver taken so far.
I know. Me too.
Yeah.
This
I
is
mean, I
working
had
out
an
great.
offensive line run in that same period they kind of did it, but I still had two receivers going.
Ballpark dollar amount. for a
Jerry
piece of
Judy is being
spot.
handed a phone.
I'm
Yeah, nobody-
surprised at how
nobody's excited.
pedestrian a lot of these home offices are. You can tell these guys are like,
The
They
issue is
spent
none
their
of them are
life-
ever at home.
yeah, exactly, going into the office, and they have no intention of ever working at
None.
home. They don't want to be around their families. They don't want to build that. They are football coaches. They
Yeah.
spend all their time at their respective offices.
Kyle, John, both sitting there smiling like jerks. Come on, what happened? Did we get a trade? Did we make a pick?
It is so funny.
You know,
looking at
all
all
of
this,
these
man.
GMs are just like,
They're on a
so
three-way
this
call.
is what fantasy football feels like. This is awesome.
Right. That's a great point. I hadn't even thought about fantasy.
I mean, this is basically what we do.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right. Pick is in.
All right, here we
Roger
go.
Goodell there. Let's see. It's not a trade. I think it's Kinlaw. It is
Javon
Kinlaw.
Wow. Yep.
Yeah. Javon
Wow.
Kinlaw. Like I said, second best defensive tackle in this draft. Dude's a game wrecker. 49ers get better, man. That's great.
That defensive line is going to be scary again.
Yes, it is.
Absolutely. That Bosa kid, man. Shoo. He was the best player, a defensive player in football last year.
Yep.
Regardless that he was a rookie. Forget
Yeah.
the whole rookie of the year thing.
Yeah.
He was the best defensive player in the year last year.
Yep.
What does that tell you about the 49ers, too? They know their offense is going to be pedestrian, probably. Let their defense dominate.
Yeah, I mean, look, it worked for the Ravens. We won a Super Bowl with Trent Dilfer as a damn quarterback. So,
Yeah.
Yes, you did.
yeah. I don't think Jimmy Garoppolo is a little bit better than Trent Dilfer. Look, they got some pieces out there too. I wouldn't be surprised if you see a running back get picked in the fourth round with that pick that they picked up to add another dimension to the offense there. So 49ers, man, John Lynch, defensive guy. He's
Mhm.
building it through defense. Smart. You think the Denver Broncos, who are on the clock next at 15, licking their chops now with 2 wide receivers that sitting right there for him?
This
CeeDee
is where
Lamb.
CeeDee Lamb goes.
Yeah, this has got to be CeeDee Lamb. If it's not CeeDee Lamb, I would be very surprised.
Yeah, then there's something we don't know about
Did
him,
anybody
right?
think CeeDee Lamb would fall to 15?
Yeah.
No. I think he's like Michael Thomas.
Yeah. Same sort of build.
Are the Falcons fielding trade calls right now? Being behind the Broncos, and they don't necessarily have the full need at the wide receiver position? Are they fielding phone calls?
They don't have any need at wide receiver, so yeah, I would be. I think a team like Philly, that's a team that comes to mind. To come up and get somebody. I had them taking Ruggs, but now that he's off the board, you got Jerry Jeudy. That'll be one of those 2 guys. Jeudy or CeeDee Lamb will be sitting there. Yeah,
They have to give Wentz an option.
I would I would love to see Philly come up and take that pick.
I agree.
At 21, you give Atlanta, a third or a fourth, and you slide them back 5 spots. Only problem with that pick though is right behind Atlanta, Dallas. I mentioned it earlier. That could be a DB, and that could be somebody that they might have been high on as far as the DB is concerned. So,
are the Vikings also in that mix for making a phone call here to get ahead of the Eagles for that exact same reason?
Yeah,
absolutely. And I think if the Denver Broncos move back at this point, they got to start looking too at some defensive help, some edge rusher type help. They did get rid of Derek Wolfe. Derek Wolfe is now a Raven, right? Maybe that's where Clavon Chason goes. I mean, that could be a good fit. Obviously, he's the best edge rusher.
You got to think they could also look linebacker. They could also look at Patrick Queen, and go with him, and he's going to probably fall at this point.
Put that evil on me, Ricky Bobby.
At this point, he can fall back to 2023.
Yeah.
Let's see. I haven't spoke Patrick Queen's name yet because I'm trying to keep it quiet in case anybody of those GMs are actually watching.
The pick is in.
It's amazing how
the pick's
thirsty,
in, Fred. Hit it.
How thirsty you get for sports. I'm watching these highlights, and I'm like, you could just keep going. I don't even care. Just play. Just keep showing some highlights. I need something, man.
Right.
Live sports that are not from the 90s or 80s.
I know.
This is incredible. Oh, this guy's happy.
I don't know who he is.
This guy's drunk.
He looks like a street performer. I don't know what's happening there. Wasted. Golly. I love it. Haven't talked about it real quick. You mentioned, Starving for Sports. Quick take. What do you guys think of the documentary so far about the Bulls?
Oh, The Last Dance. I think it's phenomenal. Poor Scottie Pippen.
Yeah, right.
I think it's good. I think the only thing is I don't know that we've really covered anything new yet.
Yeah.
I kind of knew all of these stories. It's everything you've heard about.
Yeah, that was my takeaway from the first one. Was
I didn't realize
how kind of just refreshing memories, more or less.
And there's 12 of these things, right? This is going to be extended out. I mean, there's going to be a lot of fluff in the middle of this thing, a lot of filler. But I'm so thirsty for sports, and I hate the Bulls, by the way, because of the shot from Michael Jordan.
Big time.
But right. I'm glued to this stuff just because it's mid-90s, it's sports. There's nothing else going on, and I'm living for it.
So, Chris, me and Beats had Scott Williams, 3-time NBA champion.
Yeah, I remember him.
Yeah, on the show.
Nice.
And
you should bring guys like that onto our show.
Oh, yeah. Okay. One day, Chris. One day. No, he's come on the show a couple of times. Super nice guy.
Fantastic guest.
I think they're going to do a feature on him because he has a very unique story with the Bulls. But when he came on, we're like, hey, what would it be like if there was Twitter when the Bulls played? And he's like, that would have been insane.
It would have been epic.
Vic Fangio's setup is poor.
Did you see John Elway really quickly? He looked like Al Bundy.
Yeah, he did. He did.
Stretched out.
With his Lombardis in the background.
All right, here we go. The pick's in.
Here it is. Pick is in. Denver Broncos.
Oh, boy.
At 15. Select.
Jerry Jeudy.
He goes.
Yeah, they got their guy.
Wow.
Damn the devil. All right.
Who's going to be the highest bidder for CeeDee Lamb?
I was getting ready to say the Falcons are fielding phone calls right now.
Wow. Jerry Judy's he's like I said, best route runner.
Terrible pick.
No, I think it's a good pick. What do you guys think? I can't think of his name. What's the quarterback? The new quarterback there.
Drew Lock.
Drew Lock. What do you guys think of Drew Lock? Do you think he's the real deal? Do you think he's a franchise type quarterback?
Got the arm. I think he's got a lot of time to develop. I know Ben Albright's a huge fan. He thinks he's going to make it. So honestly, I'm not going to go against him. He's usually pretty accurate.
Beats and Blake at the Hall of Fame, we got to kind of interview him after the game in the locker room for the Broncos there, and
nice.
He seems like he's got a good head on his shoulders. I feel like he could be he's going to have his rough patches. I don't think he's going to be a top 5 quarterback anytime soon, but I think he could lead that franchise.
Well, and I think
weapons around.
Do you see him like a Jay Cutler type, or like success wise, not play style, but
maybe Jay Cutler without the cigarette in his mouth?
I mean, as far as
Jay
like
Cutler level of intensity.
Yeah, right.
As far as a comparison, though, I mean, he could be as good as a and beats to like this one. And I'm gonna say prior to this year, he could be better than like what a Ryan Tannehill was in Miami.
Yeah,
what Ryan Tannehill was this year. I mean,
the bar is pretty low.
Well, I'm saying, but
Tannehill had a great season.
That's what I'm saying.
This year in Tennessee, not in Miami.
Right. Yeah. I'm saying he would be better than what Tannehill was in Miami, and then get to where Tannehill is now. Is my point. So yeah, I mean, I don't foresee him being bad. I don't think he's in danger of winning 6, 7 Super Bowls, anything crazy like that. But I mean, he's definitely good enough to get them to the playoffs at some point.
Yeah. Well, they put an explosive player around him in Jerry Jeudy. I know he's got some question marks with his knees and whatnot that came up these last couple of weeks, but you pair him with Cortland Sutton. I think Noah Fant's going to end up being a top 5 tight end in this league.
Fant.
I really like Fant as well. They put a lot of weapons around him, so he's got no excuses as far as having options to throw to.
So we don't have any Barkevious Mingos in this draft, but as you look down the draft board, what's going to be the best name taken? I'm going to go Lloyd Cushenberry III.
And that's a guy I got my eye on too. I like Cushenberry at LSU. I do.
Oh, come on, Dave. You're missing the obvious. Ezra Cleveland.
Oh, Ezra
Cleveland. You got both ends of that. You got good Cleveland at the end, and you got Ezra. And do you guys remember? This is a debate on our show. The band Better Than Ezra. No,
Jay, that's what Jay's been nicknaming him.
Better Than Ezra. Oh, yeah. Right. That's all I like to hear. A little good. Remember good?
Oh yeah.
King of New Orleans. Yeah, that's good stuff, man.
So I'm gonna step away and grab a refill real fast while we're waiting on Atlanta to trade this pick.
Go ahead. I've had like 5 refills.
Yeah, Scott, you're gonna have to hit me with a refill over there, bud. With some more of that honey. I appreciate it. Yeah, so we got Atlanta Falcons on the board. 4 minutes left at pick number 16. They got some needs: defensive tackle, edge rusher, cornerback. Seems to be most of their needs are on the defensive side of the ball. Kinlaw would have been a good fit here. Obviously, he goes a couple picks earlier. Edge rusher, like I said, Clavon Chaisson still out there from LSU. He makes some sense. I thought maybe if Henderson would fall down here, the draft board, he might make sense out there in Atlanta, the cornerback out of Florida. Dave,
what do you think about the Falcons?
What do I think about them?
Just overall as a team, kind of where they are right now? They're kind of, they've got some older talent on there. Obviously, they got Matt Ryan, but they've really struggled since getting blown out that third, fourth quarter by the Patriots.
Yeah, I feel like that's a mental hurdle they haven't been able to get over.
Right? Yeah, seriously. Like their team hasn't been all that different.
Right.
But they've just completely kind of crapped the bed.
And when you look at the numbers Matt Ryan's put up in his career there in Atlanta, if you didn't think about Super Bowls, you just look at the pure numbers of it, the guy's putting up like Hall of Fame type numbers and he's got nothing to show for it. Nothing.
Yeah, it's a weird situation down with the Falcons.
For sure. Although Todd Gurley, he's a new Falcon. Does that ring any bells for anybody? Does that make anybody excited for Atlanta's offense?
Is he going to revitalize himself, do you think? Can he reinvent himself at this point? I don't know.
He's another guy.
Fixed his knee.
Yeah, he's got knee issues. He had knee issues coming out of college. They got a couple of good years out of him.
I think
What's that?
You don't miss the Super Bowl without having some serious issue. And it clearly showed last year.
Yeah, that's why you don't see a lot of running backs go high in the draft unless you got a guy that could absolutely be a difference maker, like a Saquon Barkley or like an Ezekiel Elliott, those type of backs. You just don't
or Trent Richardson.
or Trent Richardson. That was great. Super great.
Hey, we traded him for Johnny Manziel. Never forget.
Very true. Very true. But yeah, I don't know, man. Todd Gurley, I think they sign him for like $6 million or something. So it's a low risk, move for them. Gives them another player. But
yeah, they're kind of like the Atlanta Hawks of like the 2000s. Like they're the 8th seed. They're never going to be that good. They're just kind of in this plateau, this purgatory. I just don't have good thoughts for the Falcons.
Yeah, like I said, I think offensively they're okay. They're not great. I think they're okay, but it's just been defense for them. They absolutely have to bolster the defensive side of the ball. They got to get their offense back on the field and get off the field faster. We'll
they're one of those fan bases, though. I mean, Atlanta is that it's just like they don't deserve anything. It's just, I mean, really, they're not one of those hardcore fan bases where you think football lives, breathes, just dies for it. They're really very fair weather as a fan base. So I don't feel for them. I feel for the Falcons about as much as I feel for a lot of those teams down there. When you get to the South with the NFL, there's not a great fan base down there. You don't find a whole lot.
It's a bunch of retirees.
Have a good fall.
Yeah. Who?
The Atlanta Braves.
Well, that's not football, Dave.
I'm just saying.
PSA.
There are some loyal fans there.
Well, and the Braves were also helped out by TBS, so they basically bring in the whole South.
Well,
so, I mean from Cincinnati south, everybody who's not a Reds fan, you go into Kentucky, you go into Tennessee, they're all Atlanta fans. Thank you, TBS, and thank you, geography. That's basically the way it worked out.
Atlanta
There's
fans,
a baseball moment.
When they had Mike Vick down there, though, they sold out constantly.
Oh yeah.
They were, that was the hot ticket in town. And even in Cleveland with you guys, I mean, until you guys have put a competitive product on the field, you guys haven't been out there in hordes, stocking up the fans. I don't think. Have you?
What?
Oh,
have you?
You severely underestimate the Cleveland.
Really? Okay.
Oh yeah.
Do I need to tell you we had 3,000 people when it was 0 degrees out walk around a stadium for a winless team?
That's true.
I mean, come on. We packed that stadium even when we sucked.
Selection is in.
That is true. That was a bad take.
AJ Terrell.
Yeah, so they do take a corner. So that's the quarter out of Clemson. A lot of people were high on him. So I think 16 might be a little bit of a reach for him. They probably could have traded back and still got Terrell, but probably couldn't find the value in it.
Definitely could have traded back for him.
Or the button to make the trade.
So as well. I'm wondering if nobody made the move. They thought there's too many options out there.
Or was Atlanta asking way too much for this?
Could be.
What's going on with CeeDee Lamb right now?
I don't know.
I mean, I'm blown away right now.
I am too. 17. The Cowboys are on. I can't see the Cowboys going wide receiver here. So I don't think he goes.
Cowboys are going Chase on here.
Jerry Jones has no scouts.
Big Chase on.
He's blocked them all. He's sitting in his living room, and he's going to take whoever the hell he wants to take.
Yeah.
So who is the biggest star left on the board?
I think it's definitely CeeDee Lamb. Chase on, like you said, makes a lot of sense. I also think Xavier McKinney, the best safety in the draft, makes a lot of sense for them.
Makes a ton of sense for them.
Maybe he hasn't got all the hype that Isaiah Simmons has gotten, but I think he's a similar skill set, similar size, rangy type player you can line up everywhere.
Yeah.
McKinney is the second best player available.
Yeah. If Jerry Jones is not in contact with anyone and he's submitting the pick, there is a pretty high probability that he's asleep.
So we have Rob on Twitter asks, wait, is there a way Miami walks away with Tua, CD, and Jonathan Taylor?
Unreal. If that happens, what are they? They're a couple picks away, right? At 20.
At 18, right?
They're 18. They're the next pick.
Yeah, 18.
Oh, I thought the Eagles had 18, no?
No, unless they spell 21. Philadelphia MIA.
I skipped that day at school.
I mean, with Nick,
Phonics did not
with-
Look
work
at
for me.
Jerry's setup.
without Nick Foles, I mean, it kind of explains Philadelphia.
Yeah.
Wow. Wow, great comment, whoever that was, though, man. If they walked away with those three
Yeah.
players,
Yeah.
totally different team there.
Do you think we're going to see a running back like J.K. Dobbins go in the first round?
You could see Swift go.
I actually had two. I had Swift and Dobbins in my mock.
Okay.
I like Hilaire, the kid out of LSU. He reminds me a lot of Ray Rice in his like just his shiftiness, his ability to catch the ball out of the backfield. I think he'll be the best back out of this draft.
Just hopefully he doesn't beat his wife.
I was gonna say, just hopefully he doesn't remind you of that when he's in an elevator.
I did it to my own
I can't. I
co-host.
have nothing to say to that. You know what I say? Awkward.
So talking logistics, I noticed this on the picks. So basically, Roger Goodell has a stack of cards off screen. He sees what the pick is. He writes it down really quick, stands up in his basement, and then announces it to the world.
Wow.
Right? When you think through what he's actually doing.
Just in case he
Hold on.
forgets.
Who's working Mike McCarthy's video? The same guy that did Wayne's World? Are we doing an extreme close-up right now? What's going on?
Oh,
Only
man.
look at my left side. Only look at my left side.
The owner of Noah's Arcade.
I was just waiting for Mike McCarthy to go, whoa!
Oh man, we're not worthy.
Yeah.
What do you think, Dallas? Here
I
at
forgot
17.
I forgot he was the coach.
Yeah.
So Terrell come off the board while I was gone, right?
Yeah.
So I think this pick, Kinlaw's
McKinney?
gone. I don't know necessarily it's McKinney. They need a guy that can play inside out like Byron Jones did, and Jalen Johnson's shown he can do that.
Okay. I don't know. I think McKinney's the best safety in this draft. They definitely need safety help. They can line him up in different spots like they would with Isaiah Simmons. But no, I mean, they just need secondary help in general.
Right. Yeah, I don't think either of those two that we just mentioned, him or McKinney or Johnson's out of the realm of possibility.
What is Jerry Jones sitting in? Is he sitting in a space shuttle? Right
Yeah,
now?
I was trying to figure that out myself. He looks like he's in a bus.
It's in a concrete bunker.
Yeah.
That
Corona won't get me.
Somewhere deep beneath Jerry World.
Oh, it's definitely Jerry World.
He
yeah.
does have to stay
the
away from the
bowels.
corona. What better way than a concrete bunker?
Yeah.
CD still sitting there in the same position for the last couple hours. Girlfriend looks pissed.
Could Dallas shock the world and take CD Lamb right here?
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised.
That's a Jerry Jones type of move, man.
That's what I'm saying.
Could CD Lamb fall to Vegas?
At 19, Vegas waits and still gets to their guy.
Mike,
Yeah.
video's on. Video's on, Mike.
Could get both.
This is like the Mike McCarthy video that he made of just like his friends in like their War Room GM type thing for the whole season. Did you see that documentary?
What is Mike McCarthy doing so close to the freaking spread?
I have a big head, but that's a large dome.
Mike,
Golly.
back up, my man. Jesus.
You guys, I just had a heart attack because I thought you were yelling at me. I was like, what did I do? I'm like, I didn't do anything.
pick is
but
in.
maybe something popped up on my screen or something. Oof.
All right.
Mike,
You're
your head
happy
is
about whatever they just did.
Jerry and Mike are both on the phone.
They're
The pick is in.
cheesing together. They're all happy.
Oh, man. Look at
Pick
that
is
Cowboys
in.
belt buckle.
I don't know. If I'm making my pick here, I think it's McKinney. But man, the way that they're smiling, McCarthy's an offensive mind. Maybe it is CD Lamb.
I don't think that's defense.
No, that's not. But McCarthy's got too much of a shit-eating grin on his face.
Right? Yeah,
Although
big time.
that changed to a face at the end there, right before they cut away.
I don't
Okay,
know.
let's listen in. Here we
Listen
go.
in. Cowboys, pick 17. Select
CD Lamb. There he
There it
goes.
is. Wow.
Way.
Jerry Jones
Wow.
at his finest. That is a
Right
Jerry
again.
Jones pick. Golly.
Bravo. Ooh.
We know Mike McCarthy was happy.
Right? Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, that makes
Wow.
perfect sense why McCarthy was happy. Exactly. Well, that gives them two playmakers on the outside now with him and Amari Cooper. See, the thing with Amari Cooper is if he feels like playing, he's like an effort guy.
Yeah.
Like sometimes he goes out there and he's just like, yeah, fuck it, I don't feel like playing today. And then other days he goes out there and he looks great. He's a Pro Bowler.
Yep.
Do you guys buy into Dak Prescott getting paid $40+ million a year? Do you think he's worth it?
He's got no excuse now.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. There's that, and the other thing is, I think, the quarterback position is just so vital. Even if you have somebody with a pulse, you know what I mean, in the NFL, it makes that much of a difference. And the fact of the matter is, whether the Cowboys want to admit it or not, Dak Prescott's a top 10 quarterback in this league right now. So you got to pay the guy if you want long-term sustained success. You got to lock down your quarterback. If not, the rest of that offense is good enough. You put yourself in a spin cycle of, I was listening to everything as I was walking upstairs. You talked about a team that, is always just kind of right out of the playoff picture, right in it, good enough to be considered good, bad enough to not win anything. That's kind of what they'll be,
Right.
And who knows when that quarterback, that next, guy like Patrick Mahomes that slides in the first round or something comes out, they could be in that purgatory realm that you talked about earlier for a long time.
Right. Chris, anything?
No, I'm sucked into Twitter. Sorry.
Okay, I saw you. I thought you might have had a take. I didn't know.
No. I'm just staring off and I'm watching football highlights and I'm like, oh, football. Oh.
We got a message from Mac Wilson. He says, Bama taking over Cleveland, bro.
Beautiful.
Wow.
Is he going to be on the show? That'd be great.
He won't show
Stand us up.
Tom, jump on here with us.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, invite him.
We'll make room. All right, so Miami Dolphins back on the clock again. We talked about it earlier. They land Tua. A guy brought it up in the chat room. CeeDee Lamb is gone, so they're not going to get him. But wide receiver, offensive line, obviously, are still needs for them. Do they go offensive tackle here to protect him, or do they maybe go Justin Jefferson, who, in my opinion, is the next best wide receiver in this class?
I see him going Austin Jackson tackle.
Yeah.
This is the guy you're going to see a ton of stories about it when he does get picked. He donated bone marrow to his sister the summer of 2019. Still hasn't missed a game in his college career. I could see him being the pick here.
Wow. That's a good story.
Availability is a great ability to have.
Yeah. Yeah. You got Tua, who's got injury question marks. You got to protect him.
Mm-hmm.
So offensive line definitely makes a lot of sense.
Let them grow up a little bit together.
Do you draft your Minka Fitzpatrick replacement here with Xavier McKinney?
That's a good point.
Yeah,
that's a good point.
Is this a Westworld commercial that we've got going on here? Oh, Dell Technologies. Okay.
I was going to say, they did extend to season 4, I believe.
Yeah, I agree with James in the chat. I still think the Dolphins take a running back here at some point in the first round, whether that's Swift or Taylor, or they shock the world and take Dobbins ahead of both of them.
I don't think it's at 18. Do you?
No, not at 18.
No.
I had them taking a receiver with this pick if one was still there. Now that the top crop, so to speak, is gone, tackle probably makes the most sense here. Because like you said, there's a lot of wide receiver depth that early part of the second round. So I could see a tackle here.
Blake, do you have a running back that you think is just enough better than the other two between Dobbins, Swift, and Hilaire?
I'm not that high on Hilaire. I'll be honest. One of our topics week before last was do I like him better than Cam Akers? Now I'm sorry, I like Cam Akers a little better than Hilaire.
Really?
Okay.
Akers. For two reasons. One, Akers I feel is a little bit better out of the backfield, and with the current state, and if we're speaking specifically to the Dolphins, with the current state of the Dolphins' offensive line, and just the fact that they'll have a rookie quarterback, you're going to need that outlet out of the backfield. You're going to need that dump off guy, and I think he fits that mold better than the other two. Now, I think Swift is probably the best back of this group. The thing I worry about with Jonathan Taylor is mileage, man. He had a ton of carries in college. Now, don't get me wrong, he was great for all those carries, and I don't think he missed much time, if any. But mileage on running backs is a huge concern for me.
One of those two, though, has fumbling issues, doesn't he?
I'm not sure off the top of my head.
No, I thought Taylor had some I think the guy out of Wisconsin.
Yeah, Jonathan Taylor.
Yeah, pretty sure he's got some fumbling issues.
Yeah, I mean, if I had to rank him, and I would say Swift is definitely definitely head and shoulders above the others. But the other ones could be really in no particular order, Dobbins or Taylor. Or I really think it just depends on what you're looking for out of the backfield. And I feel like Miami's going to look for more of that athletic type.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. Pick is in. Probably be another 5 minutes before we get the announcement here. But yeah, I mean, I think. Listen, I definitely think they do go running back at some point, whether that's in the first round or maybe in one of the later rounds. We'll see. I think if they're looking at Cam Akers, I think Cam Akers will be there late second, early third, in my opinion.
Yeah.
There's a lot of running back depth. And like I said,
that was kind of my second scenario for them, was if they didn't take one here at the bottom half of the first, that they could wait till the beginning of the third, maybe that first pick in the third round, to take a guy like Cam Akers.
Yeah, that would be a good fit for sure. McKinney makes a lot of sense, like you said, on the defensive side of the ball. We'll see.
Since you're talking about defensive side of the ball, does Chason or Murray make sense here for them? Anybody?
Yeah, Chason would make sense. The Dolphins are one of those teams where they need so much, nothing's really out of the range of possibility. So, we'll see what they end up doing here. But I think in terms of trying to build that offense back up is really where they need to focus.
I love that Dave's computer just died.
Is that what happened?
Yeah, he ran out of juice.
That's about
Dave,
right. That's
Dave,
about
you got to understand, man. This is not a sprint. This is a marathon. Come on.
It happened exactly at this point last year because he was posting the draft and it cut out on us this time. That's great.
Reliable.
Right. Yeah. So the Dolphins, I got to ask you this, right? So the AFC East, kind of wide open at this point, do you think, now with the Patriots making all these changes? Like, who's the new dog in the AFC East, or is it still the Patriots?
I really like Buffalo. That's actually the team I went back and just looked at my notes here. That's the team I talked about Cam Akers going to, was Buffalo, to be that complementary piece to Devin Singletary. But yeah, I think the Bills, with the couple pieces added on defense and like I said, a complementary piece in that backfield, could be very good in the East this year.
Yeah. If Josh Allen's 80-90% of what they hope he'll be, that roster overall is just, I think, a little bit better than everybody else.
That's what I was going to ask you. Obviously defensively, they're a great team. Fundamentally, they're a great defense. They're one of the top 3 defenses in the league. But is Josh Allen the real deal? I mean, we've seen countless amounts of inaccurate throws, overthrows, especially on the deep balls. He's got a can of an arm, but it doesn't do you any good. We experienced that here in Baltimore with Kyle Bowler. Guy had a freaking cannon for an arm.
Yep,
couldn't hit anybody in stride. It was
don't
terrible.
You curse like that on air.
Yeah, it was terrible.
All right, the pick is in. Here
pick
we
is
go.
In. 18th pick, Dolphins select
Austin Jackson.
There it is. There's their tackle.
There you go,
All
Mike.
right.
Good pick.
I think it just makes
Smart
sense
pick.
overall. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, look, Dolphins are doing good so far. They got the guy that they wanted at quarterback with Tua. They get somebody to protect his blind side now. Like I said, if they add a playmaker to the outside at wide receiver with their next pick, and then add a running back in that third round that we talked about, this team looks totally different, man. It's a good team.
Beats, you said the whole story about the whole, with his bone marrow to his sister. It plays right exactly the storyline that they would probably want to help get people in and get the fans in as well.
Yeah, absolutely. This is definitely a great story. He's a locker room type guy. He's a real leader. I don't think he's going to be an issue as he's coming from Southern California, swinging over to Miami either. I think it's a really good pick for them, honestly.
What a 180 for Dolphins first round lineman draft picks. Your last guy, this guy donates bone marrow to his sister, and your last guy was smoking through a gas mask.
That's true. All right, so the Las Vegas, got to get used to saying that, Las Vegas Raiders are back on the clock at 19. 5 minutes left to go with their pick.
I'm never going to get that right. There's no way I'm going to ever call the Raiders. They've changed so many times in my lifetime now. At 40 years old, just forget about it. That's just not going to happen.
Are you kidding me? Fred still struggles with the Chargers.
Yeah.
Oh,
the Chargers. Yeah. Have you guys seen the new stadium yet, though? It's insane.
It's insane. I have a good friend that lives out that way, and he was sending me pictures driving by it, and it's insane.
It's crazy. What do you guys think the Raiders do here with their second pick?
I'm trying to look at best available right now.
Just look at fastest player. Just pull that up.
Right.
Sort it and take number one. Boom.
Well, they got their fastest guy in Henry Ruggs already. That's
well, I know. Come on, if they're really gonna go Al Davis, they're gonna get the second fastest guy now too, and make sure they keep him away from Dallas.
Do they go X receiver here? Right, they got their burner, they got their their inside guy. Do they go another wide receiver? Do they go back-to-back wide receivers here? Could
You know
that
the
be a
way
possibility?
Gruden rolls. I mean, Gruden's like he's obsessive compulsive.
Yeah.
Remember what he does with quarterbacks? I mean, in Tampa, he had like 50 quarterbacks on the roster at one point.
right.
I mean, I think he's really just obsessed. So if he gets on a run with wide receivers, hell, he may draft all night. He may sign some in between rounds and just add more.
And that
Gruden's
quick,
just that type of personality.
that quick, he puts his pick in.
Pick is in.
Does it seem like a cornerback, probably, right?
I would say the two guys we thought Dallas was going to take here, Jalen Johnson or Xavier McKinney, make a lot of sense.
Christian Fulton at LSU is in the mix,
Fulton would be
maybe.
in that mix, yep.
Makes a lot of sense to us.
Yeah.
Us, yeah.
Yeah.
John Gruden lives in his own world.
Mayock and Gruden are their X factors. So
Yeah.
Although I was a fan of Mayock. I liked Mayock when he was doing his whole thing on ESPN and NFL Network or whatever. I liked Mayock. We'll see what happens here.
So, somebody in AV needs to get that mic boom out of the screen there.
Oh man. Dave say he's hopping back on, or he say he's done for the night.
Said he was going to if the laptop charges up.
It does take some time to charge that guy up.
Yeah, we know from experience.
How
don't
does it not
understand how-
charge while it's plugged in?
Is his battery just that shot? I don't know.
It's the cameras and everything. The setup, it's 2-3 cameras. It's got everything pulling on the same.
So yeah,
out
it's
of
all
the same
pulled off
juice.
that same laptop.
Pick is in. The Las Vegas Raiders at number 19 select. Wait a minute, they're going to make a special announcement first.
I am so far behind. It's driving me
Did they
nuts.
just say they're moving the draft to Vegas next year?
No.
I swear.
I would want to boycott it because I want it to be
Hold
in
on.
Cleveland.
They're supposed to be in Dallas.
No, it's supposed to be in Cleveland next year.
Yeah, it's supposed to be Cleveland.
He just said something about Dallas.
Jerry World pulling. He just traded with Cleveland for the draft.
Well, here comes the pick. Raiders select. Damon Arnett. Who?
From Ohio State.
Another Ohio State guy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Damon Arnett. Another cornerback, man. Two Ohio State cornerbacks in the top 20 picks.
Yeah.
Wow. Wow. Urban Meyer was doing his thing over there at Ohio State. You get two corners.
Yeah. Absolutely.
This kid was projected as a potential number 64 guy.
Yeah. That's a
This is Jerry Jones written all over it.
no, this is the Raiders.
What's
The
his
Raiders,
speed?
sorry.
Check his
Mayock.
speed.
Well, yeah, Mayock is just bad.
Wow.
Actually, he's kind of slow, to be honest with you. He doesn't have the kind of straight line speed, which is kind of surprising. He's quick. He's got one of those quick muscles. And he's a tough guy, but
Yeah, I don't know enough about this guy. Was not looking at him as a first round pick at all. Didn't have him in my top 30.
yeah, most places had him late in the second round
Wow, that's a reach.
or even the third round.
Especially
I
if
mean,
you're going
guys-
defensive back. Why are you not going McKinney there? McKinney is just
Second team All Big Ten. Second team All Big Ten.
wow.
I mean,
The note I'm looking on him too, even from CBS, is saying he checks the speed box, but he's not a burner. He is never truly dominant, and he's overly grabby. Those are his weaknesses. There's really not much on the strength side for this guy.
Wow.
So there's a lot of people on Twitter right now asking for some clarification on the draft. So he said 2020 on the broadcast. However, they think he meant 2021. So Cleveland Twitter is up in arms right now.
Nice.
That's what I was going to say.
imagine.
I would want to boycott that, but Vegas sounds like a lot of fun.
So, Beats, it sounds like you just booked your trip.
I might. It's been a little while.
I had a Vegas trip planned in 3 weeks from now that I had to end up canceling because everything going on. Would have been my first Vegas trip.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Well, Vegas is a very, very good time.
I couldn't wait, man. I was all excited for it. Then Corona hit, and I thought, nah, there's no way it goes that long. Well, here we are. Here's what it is. All right, Jacksonville on the clock at 20. Pick is in, man. They didn't waste any time. So Jacksonville, what did they take? They took Henderson, right? Was it Henderson they took? No. Who did they take with their first pick? Yeah, it was Henderson, the cornerback out of Florida. So they don't have the need at corner anymore. They got needs all over the board, though.
I could see a D lineman here.
Yeah, like
All
I
right.
said, yeah.
Clarification here. This is straight from the Vegas Twitter. Today, the Raiders are excited to announce that the NFL has chosen Las Vegas to host the 2022 NFL Draft celebration.
Okay.
Okay.
Breathe easy, Cleveland.
Which I think that makes sense because I think Dallas, that may be where the Dallas tie is. That Dallas was set to host it in 2022.
Got it. All right. Well, Jacksonville didn't waste any time. They need a lot of help on defense. They already got that with C.J. Henderson on one side at corner. Still need help at linebacker. Still need help on the defensive line. Chason, we've been mentioning him
that's what
multiple
I think it is.
times. He's still there. I think Chason's the pick.
Yeah.
Or linebacker. Do they go Kenneth Murray? Do they go Patrick Queen here? Could be either one of the LSU guys, Chason or Queen. I don't know.
Could, yeah. I think Chason makes the most sense.
I was going to say, go ahead.
I was going to say, they got Miles Jack down there. I forgot about him, so maybe they don't go linebacker.
Yeah, they got Miles Jack, a couple other guys at backer, and they're going to move Yannick Ngakoue at some point.
Yeah.
In the next,
They signed Joe Schobert, right?
Signed Joe Schobert. So yeah, I foresee this being Chason. I don't see it being anybody else. It's got to be an edge guy.
Yeah. Well, Chason can play inside as well, right? He's good inside moves.
Yeah, I mean, typically you see him on the outside, on the edge, but
he's like a linebacker DN, right?
Yeah.
He's
like that with them taking Josh Allen last year. Or is it just because they're going to replace Ngakoue?
Did you see the Twitter beef that him and the G or
him
the
and Khan? Him and Tony Khan.
That was great. That was
don't see that very often. Man.
No, not public like that.
No.
It's one thing for the player to be stupid and say something, but you never see somebody of that high ranking
fire back.
Right. But he put Ngakoue at his place, though. It was great.
I can't ever remember there being that well, and again, Twitter, we just discussed earlier, if Twitter was around 10, 15 years ago, it would be different. But I can't remember a more public breakup than this Ngakoue Jacksonville breakup.
But by the way, if you guys haven't seen it, there is something going around with Emmanuel Acho on Twitter with if you have questions about CeeDee Lamb's hands, watch him snatch the phone away from his girl. And he literally she picks it up and he snatches it like super quick. And yeah, it happened live.
Yeah, I saw that.
That's great. So what do we got? We got the Jaguars here.
So the Eagles are next, and then you got the Vikings and then the Patriots.
Okay. Vikings, maybe they're looking at a Justin Jefferson now that the top three wide receivers are gone for good. Because they still need to fill the void of Stephon Diggs being gone. Yeah.
Well, but could the Vikings, because there's so much talent in the second, especially early second, late second, could you see the Vikings trading here and trading back if somebody's willing to trade up for somebody?
I mean, I think they'd entertain it, but they got T. Higgins on the board, they got Justin Jefferson on the board. They're both really, really good wide receivers, and depending upon how far they go back, they run the risk of losing both of those guys. So, I don't know. We'll see.
All right, fellas. Well, I'm going to have to hit the hay. I get up at 4 a.m. So I'm going to leave you guys.
All right, man. Well, appreciate you joining the
This was
show.
fun.
Appreciate you being on, man. Yeah, it was a good time.
This was a lot of fun. And hopefully the end of the draft continues. You know, we haven't had that many technical problems here, have we?
No.
I
So
mean,
far, so
Very
good.
well run.
The show, the draft, I've been really surprised. Now, about just over 2/3 of the way through it. So good for the NFL. Good to see sports back and good to be on with you guys.
Yeah,
Catch
man.
you
Appreciate
guys
it.
Appreciate it.
in the future. See ya.
All right, man. Take care. All right, so Mel's got his board up there as far as best available. All the guys we've been talking about. McKinney's still out there. Justin Jefferson, Chason, Kenneth Murray, Jordan Love, if you believe that he's going in the first round. I don't know. I'm surprised. Here we are, at pick 20, and McKinney's still there.
That New Orleans love interest, pun intended. It's I'm telling you, man. I still feel where there's smoke, there's fire with that.
Yep.
Because they were linked to him very early on in the process.
All right, here we go.
Pick is in.
And it's Kevon Chason.
Makes sense.
Yep.
Solid pick.
There it is.
Very solid pick. So all the guys I was hoping might slide in this draft or the Ravens might get aggressive for and go up after are now gone. So now, if I'm the Ravens, I'm staying put at 28, and I'm still looking at that Patrick Queen, Kenneth Murray, Cesar Ruiz, even AJ Epinesa as far as an edge rusher goes. That's kind of the class that I'm looking at for the Ravens at 28. For all you Raven fans that are still tuned in out there, I'm not trading up for anybody at this point if I'm Eric DeCosta. Chason, though, best edge rusher in this draft, can make a real difference down there, especially as a replacement for Yannick if they're going to end up, trading that guy.
I think they're going to move on at this point.
I was going to say the question I would have though is
welcome back, Dave.
I just didn't charge the laptop all the way there.
How do you not have the laptop plugged in while you're doing this?
Dude, I do. So for some reason, I'll have it plugged in, and during a stream, it'll just gradually suck that down.
Wow.
All right. Well, all right. So the other thing I think about, and I brought this up on our show, was I know you said you don't want to see the Ravens trade up.
Mm-hmm.
But if you really think, I don't know that Murray and Queen are going to be there when it comes to 28th pick. If that's where you want to go, I think you've got to get above Miami, who's going to be looking for some type of protection in this situation.
If they're your guys, if Eric DeCosta says I want Patrick Queen and that's who I'm going to go get, then yeah, they're going to make an aggressive move to go up there. But me personally, there's some linebacker depth in the second, the third, and even the fourth round. Logan Wilson, Willie Gay Jr. There's a lot of guys out there that maybe aren't quite on that Patrick Queen and Kenneth Murray level, but guys that you can still find later that I don't want to give up the draft capital to move up a couple spots. Just me. We got a lot of holes we need to fill.
This is true.
Dave, any surprises so far for you in this draft? Anybody still on the board that you're like mind blown still on the board? Or is it gone pretty much
not
per
really.
club?
I feel like it's gone kind of according to plan from mock drafts with a couple of wrinkles here and there, but I didn't see Dallas really taking a wide receiver. I think that just kind of fell in their lap. But outside of that,
do you guys see the Chiefs trading into this pick?
The Eagles?
Eagles just put their pick in, so I would doubt that now. But
I'm sorry for the Vikings. When we were talking about the Vikings, I went deep on that.
Oh.
Sorry about that. I got excited. The Eagles.
I think it depends
wide
on what
receiver,
happens with
right?
this pick. If the Eagles don't take Justin Jefferson here, I think that's the next pick.
Yeah. Justin Jefferson or even T. Higgins, both of those guys.
Yep.
Yeah, very similar. 1A, 1B for me. That's as far as what's left on the board at wide receiver for the first round. I think that makes a lot of sense. They need some help at safety, though. McKinney's still there. Maybe they're licking their chops. Maybe they didn't realize McKinney would still be there. See?
When's the Vikings' next pick after this one? Does anybody know?
I have no idea.
They have
I'm
the
not sure.
22nd and 25th, right?
Oh, they have 2 in the first.
Yeah, they have 22 and 25.
Okay.
And they have a lot of draft capital.
Yeah.
That's why I was saying it. So the Chiefs are tight on money. So you trade Chris Jones. That's that fills their need for the Vikings inside on the D line. You trade a little capital, you get a guy like that, sign him to a long-term deal.
Yeah.
And who would the Chiefs go for, though? That's what I'm trying to figure out.
Yeah. Chiefs might need that linebacker help too. I don't see them getting another wide receiver. Maybe running back, but I think it's too early to trade up for a running back.
I think you can still get a quality running back at 32.
Right.
I agree there. So if it's running back, they're not going to do a cornerback?
Could they be looking at an edge guy like Gross Matos?
If they need a defensive guy, it's either going to be the D line. So if they fulfill the interior if they fill the D line a little bit, it's going to be a linebacker like Murray or Queen, probably, right?
That's what I'm assuming. If they go defense and they need a linebacker, it's one of those two. Yeah, I don't know. Mel Kiper has him as is Patrick Queen talking about best player on the board, number 5. Makes sense.
If the Eagles don't go wide receiver here, I will be blown away.
I love that the Eagles are the only team with like these pop-up backgrounds.
Yeah,
right. That's awesome.
And they didn't even set the camera in the right spot for it.
Yeah. And they're not even like matte. They're shiny as hell. So the light is just reflecting off of it. You guys know nothing about video production.
Again, we could probably produce this at a much higher quality than they're doing
Probably
right now.
Probably could. Somebody had a poster in the back of their trunk and just hung it up.
Hey, at least they're not like Gettleman with the beach towel.
Yeah, right. That was terrible.
Beach towel? You claim
that was like
a beach towel? That was a
that
hand
was,
towel.
That was a hand towel, like those stupid Steeler towels, you know, whatever.
Here we go. Selections in.
All right.
They're talking about being able to get with the NFL Draft-a-thon, which I give
great.
them a lot of credit for this year. What they could have done, they put the money towards the Draft-a-thon. I give them credit on that.
With the 21st pick, the Eagles select Jalen Reagor. Wow.
Whoa,
the guy
wide receiver out of TCU.
Wow.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. I know a lot of people were mixed feelings with Reagor. Some people
I don't know a whole lot about him.
Yeah. Look, there's a lot to like about him. His upside. I don't know.
A lot of people said he was an early second-round guy.
Yeah, that's what I said. There's so much depth, though, in this wide receiver class that it's hard to say which way you go. But look, 5'11", 195. He's a speed guy. He's going to be able to impact both as a wide receiver and in the return game, which Philly needs. So I guess it meets a hole for them. I didn't like his hands. That's my only knock on him. And we've had such bad luck at drafting wide receivers as the Ravens. So anybody that has question marks around their hands, like, I turn away from them completely. I take them off board. Don't even consider them because we've drafted too many wide receivers that can't catch the damn ball. And he's a guy I took off my board. Same with KJ Hamler. KJ Hamler's got a similar skill set to like a Steve Smith, but he's got terrible hands, stones for hands out of Penn State. So
I think the common theme with Reagor was high ceiling, kind of low floor.
Right.
Yeah. He does go and get the ball too.
Yeah. For 5'11".
Is Xavier McKinney still on the board when my laptop died?
Yeah.
McKinney's still on the board. Him. Huh.
Yeah. That's why I say I was kind of surprised there, but the Eagles help at wide receiver, but I would have taken Justin Jefferson or T. Higgins over Reagor here. But that's okay. That's 2 wide receivers that now continue to fall to the Ravens. I'm good with it. Keep on falling.
It's all falling into place. Wait, you guys are what, 28?
28, yeah. We still got a little ways to go, but we're getting there. I really thought the Ravens were to move up at some point, and they haven't.
Still think we trade up to 25. Just saying.
All right, Vikings are on the clock. We got 4 minutes left for the Vikings. We've been talking about that wide receiver help for them. Same thing there. They got both of those guys, Justin Jefferson and T. Higgins. I think maybe if one of the top corners would have fallen, we might have seen them go for a corner here too. Offensive line, maybe. But I think this is pretty much a done deal, wide receiver. Yeah.
I think so. I think you have to.
So Joe, you may know him. Joe Beatty on Twitter says, "I threw up in my mouth when I realized you guys have a Ravens fan on the panel."
That's my brother.
There's
Oh
two.
God, how is my family doing
Now,
this?
is that Joe Beatty or the real Joe Beatty?
the
That's
real
the
Joe
junior.
Beatty. Or
That's the
It
junior.
just comes up as
Oh.
Joe Beatty on Twitter.
senior.
Oh,
Senior gets on. We'll have a good time.
Oh, yeah.
That's great.
Oh gosh.
Jay would have joined us. We'd have had almost the whole AFC North here. We just had to pull in a Bengals fan, but their night would have been
Right?
over real quick.
Yeah, they would have went to sleep earlier than
I
McNeil.
was gonna say, is
they'd
there
have
any
been
Bengals
sleeping
fans still
outside.
left?
Yeah, what happened to Chris? Did he go to bed?
Yeah,
right
he started
before
yawning.
he got back on.
Street lights came
Yeah.
on. He was like, I got to go.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
You guys drinking on anything good for the show?
I'm repping a Cleveland brewery platform with one of their sours. It's called Dr. Danny. It's
Nice.
quite tasty.
You lost
Drinking
Fred
a,
at sour.
Yeah, I'm not a big sour guy, but that's okay.
Oh,
Drinking a craft Bud Light. Went to Costco, got the 36 pack.
There you go. Quarantine style. I like
That's right.
it.
Yeah,
Blake,
Rob-
what do you got? Anything good?
Bud heavy for now. I'm gonna kill off my stock before I have to go back out and venture into the world.
There you go. No, Fred, I saw you had, was it a couple of whiskeys on the shelf?
Yeah, man. So I'm tapped into the American honey. That's like
Okay.
I've got to the point now where I just drink it on ice, drink it straight. I don't.
There
even
you go.
mix it
Nice.
with anything. It's good stuff. If you watch the show, we're obviously big fans of Screwball, the peanut butter whiskey that we love.
Yeah.
Man, that stuff is good. That stuff's good straight. That stuff's good mixed with stuff. It's
So what do
you
you
gotta try it.
mix that with?
So you can mix it with a bunch of different things. So there's Godiva has like a chocolate liqueur that you can mix it with, and it tastes like kind of like a peanut butter cup. If you
Okay.
like Reese's, very good.
Or for us, what was really good, and if you guys get your hands on this and you're able to get your hands on this, I recommend it. You had Yingling pair with Hershey's, and they did a Hershey's porter.
Ooh,
You take a
that'd be good.
shot of the peanut butter whiskey, you take a drink of that porter, it tastes exactly like a Reese's cup.
It's a peanut butter bomb. is what it is.
Nice.
It's really, really good. If you haven't had, I'm not a huge chocolate porter fan because most of them really don't taste like chocolate to me at all. This one is legit. It's made by Hershey's, like legit Hershey's chocolate. It's good. Well, made by Yingling, but has Hershey chocolate in it. It's really, really good stuff. Really good. Pick is in.
But yeah, I'm with you, Dave, on the Bud Lights. Bud Lights, by the way.
Yeah, there you
Dave.
go.
I've been drinking those. I've had a few of the honeys as well. He's got me stuck on these honeys with ice.
Good, man. Stuff's good.
It's got its quantity, not quality in quarantine here.
That's right. That's right.
I'm at home. I don't care.
Right?
What have you guys been doing to stay busy? I mean, outside of doing the show, obviously some of you guys have kids and everything, newborns, and I know you're running around with a bunch of kids, Dave. So how are you guys managing?
I mean, as much as you can. A lot of video games, a lot of we've been doing 90s movies, so
Nice.
Okay.
The Sandlot, Rookie of the Year, Three Ninjas, all the throwbacks.
There you go.
Hitting them all hard with the kiddos, and then drinking a lot of Bud Lights and Call of Duty at night when they go to bed.
I love it. I love it. You getting any sleep up there, Blake?
Yeah, we're doing the whole 2 platoon thing. The wife and I were doing the shifts, so yeah, we're not doing too bad. He's just started sleeping through the night this week, so our
That's
little
awesome.
he's 6 weeks old on Sunday, so definitely got our hands full. The whole quarantine thing and the whole COVID thing kind of come right in the middle of our process. So it was an interesting 3 days at the hospital.
Yeah, I can imagine.
So,
I can imagine.
Sounds like my neighbor. He is not only is he did he just have a kid, but he's also a cop. So 2 days beforehand, he was working on shift.
Oh, yeah.
Oh man.
All right, so Fred, I got to bring this up. Somebody, and I'm assuming this is a Browns fan, Bob on
Yes.
Twitter says, "What do you think of trading Lamar? He has a high probability of getting hurt."
Who is it?
Yikes.
Bob Swerzniak. I'm gonna
Yeah,
guess.
I don't know him. I don't know.
No. That's ridiculous. No, he's never going to get traded. I'm not going to fear him running the football. That's his best trait. The guy is an athlete. He's smart. He doesn't take big hits. He likes to get out down. He likes to get out of bounds. You can't take his biggest weapon away from him. I'm not going to live in fear. The dude just won the MVP award. I'm liking life right now.
All right, here we go. The Vikings pick is in. They're announcing it now.
A great shot there of Rick Spielman, fellow Maslin Tiger there.
Right.
Mike Zimmer's house looked amazing, by the way.
All right, with the 22nd pick, in the 2020 NFL Draft, the Vikings select Justin Jefferson.
That makes sense.
Yep, there it is.
Yep.
Good pick.
Kind of saw that one coming. Fills an immediate need. Pair him with Adam Thielen. I don't think they're missing much of a beat not having Stephon Diggs out there offensively. What are you guys' takes on Kirk Cousins? Do you guys like him as a quarterback? I mean, he's been able to put up stats. He's been able to put up yards, most of it typically in garbage time, but he has been able to put up yards. Do you think he's a legit quarterback? Do you think he's really the future or the answer for Minnesota?
I liked him until he did his birth announcement, the gender reveal, where he almost missed it.
Oh,
I was like, I had your back up until that, Kirk.
That's great.
New England trades pick to the Chargers.
Ooh.
I called this Mike. I called this last week.
Did. Wow.
What did you call? What are they going for here?
They're going to trade out because they don't really need. There's not really their biggest needs. The board is pretty much wiped right now. They need tackles and they need receivers. And my first round grades on both of those positions, everybody's gone. So this trade out makes sense to me. It makes a lot of sense.
And then with the Chargers going with Herbert, they're looking. Their window is more so now than it was if they're tanking.
Yeah. Well, they did go Herbert, right? We saw the Dolphins go Tua and offensive lineman, a tackle to protect him. Do we see something similar with the Chargers here?
Who would you grab?
Josh Jones, maybe?
I like that actually.
Yeah.
Or could it be my guy Ezra Cleveland?
Yeah, could be. I think Josh
That's a little
Jones
bit
is
of
the
reach,
more.
Dave.
Could it be an inside
better
guy?
player?
Could it be an inside guy? Could it be a center like Cesar Ruiz? Kid's
It could.
20 years old, played a hell of. I mean, he was in one of the top offensive lines at the University of Michigan. Can play guard if need be, but he's a legit starter. He's a day one starter at center. He's a guy that I'm hoping the Ravens pick if the linebackers are off the board. Maybe they go center. I don't know. Either way, they're going to need to protect.
Curious to see what they gave up to get to this spot too.
I am. I haven't heard yet. So if anybody finds out the details of the trade,
throw it in the chat.
That's what I'm looking in the chat to see if anybody says what's going on.
I feel like Jefferson, and you guys can either agree, disagree. We'll take your opinion. I thought Jefferson was a little underrated.
Yeah, I agree. Yep. I agree. Great feet.
There's a lot of people that had him as an early to mid second round guy, and I thought he was right up there. Not, he's not quite that top tier of CD and Jerry Jeudy, but right under that threshold. I felt like.
I agree. I same thing. I think T. Higgins is right in that same class with him.
Yep.
I'm so impressed with this class as far as wide receivers go. All right, so the Chargers get the 23rd overall pick. The Patriots get their second and third round picks. The Chargers, second and third round picks. It doesn't say what number overall, but it does.
Was it a swap in the second and third round or anything?
Just says Chargers get the 23rd overall. The Patriots get their second and third.
Wow.
Interesting.
That's pretty low value. I feel like the Chargers won that deal. Pick is in.
Think they go Cleveland and put him on the right tackle position, or
maybe? Well, pick is in, but apparently Goodell is not ready.
Surfboard is a nice touch in the background.
Anthony Lynn does not look super excited.
Could be a guard.
Just kind of
For
chilling.
Anthony Lynn doesn't look super excited. Tom Telesco does not look super excited either.
Anthony Lynn looks like he's gonna fall asleep.
They're like, we've made a gigantic mistake.
Phillip Rivers not going to be a Charger.
Weird, right?
Real weird. Between him and Tom Brady.
I've seen an incredible conspiracy theory from our guy Joey Molinaro that Andrew Luck is going to end up as a Patriot.
No.
I'd
be so upset.
Wow.
It's crazy. If you miss what I think I might have retweeted Joey's tweet, but it was one of those things where it was like it was so crazy it almost seemed believable.
Right.
All right, here we go.
Here comes the pick. The Chargers select.
Maybe Robert Hunt.
Kenneth Murray.
Wow.
Linebacker.
There you go.
Wow. Not a lot of faith in guys like Kaiser White, huh?
Wow. That's surprising. Well, that narrows the window a little tighter for the Ravens. I liked both Murray and Queen. I'm a little higher on Queen than I am Murray, especially just as a 3-down linebacker in our system. So I'm happy if one of them is going to be taken. Queen's still on the board for me.
Yeah, but they're the Saints. The Saints gets a little bit of help on the defensive side of the ball here. Do they go Queen on the defensive side?
Could very well.
So Ravens fans, what are you thinking at this point? We're not too far away.
Yeah, so like I said, this was the scenario I expected. I didn't think the Ravens were going to go bold and make the trade up. I was hopeful that they would maybe get a playmaker, but I was hopeful at this point both linebackers would still be on the board. Now one's gone, Kenneth Murray and Patrick Queen. Like I said, I think the safe pick for the Ravens is offensive line, Cesar Ruiz. He'll help replace the loss of Marshall Yanda.
Yep.
The offensive line is too crucial to the production of the run game for us. And
but
the only other thing that we could do maybe is an edge rusher. They got Matos out of Penn State still sitting there. You got Epinesa out of Iowa still sitting there. I wouldn't be disappointed with them at 28. But if it's me, I'm hoping Patrick Queen or Ruiz are the picks.
I say the thing about Ruiz is you got to remember Miami is still picking ahead of us. You know, they still have the 26th pick. We could see them.
True.
We could see them take a guy that really you and I have been high on, and I'm really surprised has fallen this far. But you know what, with Ruiz, you got to jump in front of Miami if you're going to get him, and I think the only way to do that would be with the trade to the Vikings pick.
Well, maybe the Dolphins go 2 offensive linemen there because they got their left tackle. They go center too. Man, committing to protecting Tua, that's for sure.
Why not?
Right? Saints, though, at 24. Dave, who do you see with the Saints? What kind of needs do the Saints have? Did anybody follow the Saints close enough to know?
Linebacker. You think Queen here?
Best linebacker on the board. I hope not.
That's why I think I said what I said with the Ravens, because I think the Saints go Queen here.
So a couple of years ago, I don't know if it was 2 years ago, there was a lot of rumors about the Saints potentially taking Lamar Jackson, even though they had Taysom Hill. They were looking at Lamar Jackson because they felt they would do a shift in offensive scheme, and that Sean Payton had all kinds of plans in place for how they were going to use Lamar Jackson, but it didn't happen. Do they go for a Jordan Love? Or are they invested in Taysom Hill as their quarterback of the future? Because Drew Brees, listen, he's still a good quarterback, but how many years does he have left in him?
You look at Tom Brady, they probably both have about 10.
If you'd ask Brady, he would say that with his
ever.
Yeah.
But
and playing inside a dome, right? That helps him.
Yeah, but I mean, everything you hear out of New Orleans is they love Taysom Hill.
Yeah.
So I don't see that, but Fred, I hate to say it, I think they're going to take one of your guys.
Stop it! Don't do it.
I have to agree. I just don't think they have any depth at the linebacker position besides Demario Davis.
In Fred's usual words, don't you put that on me, Ricky Bobby.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think if it's anything other than Love, it's gonna probably be an interior linebacker.
Yeah.
And they don't have the draft capital, so it's not like they're going to make a ton of moves. I think they got to go get their needs.
Although, to your point, not a lot of draft capital. They could trade out of this pick. If there's somebody
I think they're on the
trade is
phone
a
right now with the Baltimore Ravens.
I like it. I like it.
Wouldn't be a bad pick for the Ravens. As a Browns fan, I would hate it.
And I'll tell you what, just seeing what the Patriots gave up, they didn't really give up a ton of capital. The Ravens have 2 picks in the second. They have 2 picks in the third to move up a couple of spots, stay in the first round. Still got the 2 in the second, 2 in the third. Maybe they do.
Yeah.
We'll see what Eric DeCosta thinks, man, because I'll tell you what, the transition from Ozzie Newsome to Eric DeCosta has been very seamless, and all fans here in Baltimore are extremely happy with the job that Eric DeCosta has done so far, obviously. But one of the things I really like about DeCosta that he's different than Ozzie. He's a little aggressive. So if he does have his guy that he wants, he will make a move. Ozzie might have sat back. He would have done the trade back, get more picks, get more value. That's just take more shots at the realm. That's kind of Ozzie's motto. Eric seems to be a more aggressive guy, so very well could trade up to the Saints and get a linebacker here. They're getting down to a minute left, minute and 10.
Wow.
So
Sean Payton.
I'm going to pose a question to you guys. Do any of you guys think there's a potential for? Do any of you guys think there's a potential for the Steelers? They have some serious needs. Is there a potential for the Steelers to trade up somewhere into the first round?
You read my mind because I was just thinking that in my head, and I was going to bring it up. Was them maybe trading up? I don't know about into the first round, maybe in the first part of the second round to get like a Jordan Love. Yeah, get an heir apparent to Big Ben, but they just seem so overly committed to Ben for some reason, and I don't even know that he's going to throw a football this year. I really don't know that.
I was thinking the ideal trade for them might be somewhere, if there's a guy that they want, might be somewhere up, maybe trading for the 49ers with that 31st pick.
Yeah. Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see. I think there's going to be a bit of movement in that first half of the second round. I think there's going to be a lot of movement.
Makes a lot of sense.
Them here does Sean Payton look very old in that picture.
He does.
He does. And he's got the Belichick hoodie on, sitting on his couch right now.
4 screens.
Yeah, he does look a lot like Belichick there.
He does.
Just cut those sleeves.
With the sweatpants on and everything.
Why not though? Why do you need to be dressed up for this if you're doing it at home?
Right. Yeah.
Right.
Even some of these reporters, why do you have a shirt, tie, jacket on? Throw a hoodie on and call it a day.
Can't believe McKinney's still sitting there.
They've been tied to Brandon Ayuk.
I'm with you there. Yeah, that's strange.
What'd you say, Blake?
So they've been tied to Brandon Ayuk out of Arizona State too. So that could be a pick here too. I just don't know that I like receiver for them. I don't know.
Saints pick is in.
I'm with you, Blake. Blake, you got the Seahawks coming up. We're gonna have to start picking your brain.
Yeah, I got a theory on that one. We'll talk here after this pick.
All right. Well, they didn't make a trade. Damn you, Ravens. 24th pick. New Orleans Saints select Cesar Ruiz. God damn it.
Wow.
God damn it. Dude's a beast, man. I'm telling you.
That was another need I had for the Saints, was interior offensive line. So
yeah.
Man is crying his eyes out. He is happy.
They're going to get this kid for 5 years, being he's a first-round pick. Wow. He's going to be a perennial Pro Bowler, and he's 20 years old.
Wow. Super
young. Not going to pay him crap for 5 years. I'm telling you, he's going to make the Pro Bowl 3 out of 5 years.
I love the reaction, too.
Yeah, emotional. I love that. That's the first cry I've seen.
Yeah, it is. It definitely is.
Yeah, we haven't had many. It's kind of strange.
Yeah. Yeah, this whole thing is strange, man.
Father passed away in 2007. Sure, it probably obviously means a lot to him.
We'll forgive him for where he went to college, but no, Mike. But you asked about Seattle's pick. God, it really depends on a couple things, and we talked about it last night. It depends on what they want to do up front on the defensive line. They have a choice to make, in my opinion. They're either going to need to keep Jaron Reed, the interior D lineman, or they're going to have to keep Clowney. Given what they gave up to get Clowney, I think I would expect to see him back. I think that would be a huge shot to John Schneider's reputation if they let him walk out the door after what they spent on him. So, but the best way to kind of, I guess, give yourself an insurance policy would be to take a guy that I don't like him as much as Derek Brown. Derek Brown's obviously a freak of nature, but he kind of does the same things Derek Brown does as far as being able to play inside and out. And when I say inside out, he can play outside at the 5. He can play inside all the way down to the nose. It really just depends on where they want to use him, depending on who they get to keep. And I think that's Marlon Davidson. I think he makes a lot of sense at this pick. Or in true John Schneider fashion, they'll trade out of the first. So that would be my prediction.
Okay.
They've adopted that Patriots end of the first round mentality. Like, hey, if we're not higher than 20, we don't care. We're not getting anybody of crazy value at that point. So I mean, yeah, I think Davidson makes a ton of sense. A lot of Seahawks fans would like to see them take a running back. I don't feel that's the best move.
No faith in Penny then, huh?
Well, the problem with Chris Carson is, and Mike mentioned it earlier about somebody, is your best ability is your availability. And Chris Carson just hasn't been there for them in key moments. He wasn't there down the stretch last year. It was a huge hit. I mean, hell, they had to go grab Marshawn Lynch out of the weeds. As much as I love Marshawn Lynch, don't get me wrong, I'm Beast Mode's #1 fan, but
he's not the answer.
He's not what he was. We'll see what they end up doing. I think that D lineman Davidson makes a ton of sense because he can kind of play whatever they lose out of those two guys. So,
well, the Vikings had the pick in, then they took it back. I don't know what's going on here. Vikings on the clock at number 25 overall, back on the clock. Took Justin Jefferson just a couple picks ago, so they got their wide receiver. Still looking for some offensive line help. Who's left on the board offensive line that might go in the first round that might be a fit? Is it Josh Jones? He's still on the board?
Yeah.
Okay. Josh Jones
really
might be
need a guard, right?
Say I see a familiar
face.
They
trade to the 49ers.
Wow.
Hence why we saw the pick is in and on the clock.
Here comes Xavier McKinney.
It's got to be.
Yeah.
Absolutely has to be.
Wow.
Because the 49ers were looking to move their 13 and 31 pick to pick up capital because, like I said, they didn't have anything in the second and fourth. They moved, their one pick, but then they moved back into the first round. It has to be because there's no way they imagined that McKinney would still be here.
No, they just completed their defense.
Again. They moved up one again.
Wow. What sorcery.
Moved up one pick again.
From John Lynch to go get Kinlaw and Xavier McKinney in the first round. And added those two guys to the first or second rated defense last year?
They're taking the Ravens from 2000 approach, man. This defense is stupid.
Mm-hmm.
Stupid.
Yep. So the Niners traded 31, 117, and 176 for 25.
I knew they traded up for that.
Has to be. I see a familiar face in the chat, though. Tommy Clowney to Tennessee. No chance. No chance.
Here goes Higgins. Nah, I don't see them taking Jefferson and Higgins.
The Titans.
No, 49ers. Okay, 49ers. Never mind. Sorry.
The Titans aren't even going to re-sign Derrick Henry. They're not going to re-sign. They're not going to sign Jadeveon Clowney.
Maybe it is Higgins. Maybe the 49ers pair Higgins with what's his name? Who's the Samuel, the guy they got last year.
Are you going to dump that though to go up and get Higgins? I don't know.
I don't know if it's
Could they go Fulton here?
John Lynch is a safety though. John Lynch was a safety. McKinney makes a lot of sense. Nobody expected McKinney to be a 25. Come on, it's got to be McKinney.
Yeah.
I'm telling you right now, if they don't take him here, Seattle better damn well take him at 26.
Right.
All right, here we go.
Yeah.
Roger
I cannot
Goodell
believe he's still there.
with the 25th pick. San Francisco 49ers select Brandon Ayuk.
Wow.
Wow. So it was a wide receiver.
That seems like one of those unorthodox 49er wide receiver picks that's just not going to work out.
Wow.
It's a weird trade up.
What grade would you give this? Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think you need to trade up for him.
That was a lot of capital. Right. I think they could have stayed at 31 and had him and not given up anything.
Who spooked him?
Do you think they were worried about the Dolphins there?
I would say, who do they think is going to take him? I mean, Raven. Well, all right. So, do they think maybe Green Bay was going to trade up?
Does need a wide receiver.
I mean, you still got Higgins on the board. You still got Denzel Mims on the board. You got a few guys there. I mean, Brandon Ayuk, don't get me wrong. He's right there in that class with them. But, man, I did not see that happening.
Yeah, that was an odd pick.
Yeah.
Surprised to move up 6 picks for Brandon Ayuk.
Like I said, though, I mean, he impacts both sides off, as far as offense and in the return game for them.
Yep.
A great returner. They're going to have some burners, man. Samuel and Ayuk.
Yeah. I think Samuel's the real deal.
Yeah, I do too. Debo, he was a guy I was really high on last year. I was hoping the Ravens were going to pick him. Didn't go that way, but shined in his rookie year.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Okay. Well, that puts the Miami Dolphins back on the clock for their third time in the first round. They've got their quarterback. They got their left tackle. What do we see here? Do we see a skill position? Do we see a running back come off the board here for the Dolphins? Or do we see another wide receiver? Is it Higgins?
This is where I had the Dolphins taking running back all along. So, I mean, I would love to see DeAndre Swift here. Wouldn't be mad at a receiver either. Would be mad at Diggs or Higgs. Yeah, I really think either one of those positions is not out of the realm of possibility. I don't know. It just depends. Or do they take, like I said, Minkah? I said at their last pick, Minkah Fitzpatrick replacement with McKinney.
Yeah. Somebody's got to take him. What the hell? There's something out there. Something's going to leak. He was smoking weed into a gas mask. Something's going to come out after this draft. There's no way this guy drops this far without something being. I mean, this guy playing in Alabama was one of the most productive safeties in the entire country. One of the more versatile safeties in the country. Doesn't make any sense to me why he's still on the board.
Trust me, I would love to see this. I would love to see him slide one more pick, and
I'm sure
Seattle can kind of start rebuilding what was the, Legion of Boom with Griffin, and they have Diggs out there now. He would be a nice complementary piece to Diggs.
Yeah, I don't know if he gets past the Dolphins though, right?
Man, it'd be tough.
Man, Dolphins, this worked out really well for them.
Or if there's a team that's hot and heavy on McKinney, the Dolphins take the phone call and see what somebody's willing to offer to come up and get him.
Right. The Ravens, man, they have the best, in my opinion, this isn't me just being a homer. Ravens have the best secondary in the league right now with Marlon Humphrey, Marcus Peters, Earl Thomas, Chuck Clark. They got Tavon Young coming back from injury. But I would not put it past him if McKinney fell to the Ravens. Ravens historically have drafted best player available, even when it wasn't an immediate need. But he would be an upgrade over Chuck Clark if McKinney somehow gets past these 2 picks and goes to the Ravens. I had never even thought of the possibility of McKinney being here at 28. Like, would it even cross my mind doing mock drafts? 3:45 left on the clock. The number 26 pick, Miami Dolphins. I don't know. 3 offensive players.
It's exciting, but it's not the right move for them, right? You have Devontae Parker. Jordan Howard at least can put it between the tackles for you.
You got to be fielding every single phone call at this point. And
Oh, you're definitely accepting calls.
Yeah. But like you
they're
said,
bad at every position.
Yeah.
Outside of that, safety.
Yeah, that's just it. When you're so poor at so many positions, I mean, it's
why not take the best available
pull a name out of a hat? I mean,
yeah,
right. Yeah, well, nobody expected that McKinney to still be in the hat, so I think that's a no-brainer.
Well, and then I'm not sure which one you just said it. Take best player available, and he's clearly the best player available still right now.
Yeah,
right. Wow.
But to your point too, Fred, something's going to come out on why he slid.
There's no way he slid this far just by circumstance. Something had to have happened.
Yeah.
There's some sort of underlying circumstance or issue or injury, something that we don't know that's got teams questioning things. So, as a Seahawk fan, you're one pick away. Has the draft shaken out in a way that you're anxious, you're happy, you got some guys there that you really liked, or were there guys that you wanted or were hoping for and aren't there now?
I mean, in a perfect world, I would have loved to have seen somebody like a Kinlaw fall. Have one of those unexpected falls. In terms of dream scenario. But I'm not upset with who's left on the board. It's one of those things where I don't know that Seattle will invest a first round pick in a guy like Davidson. I would like to see them do it, but it's just not usually John Schneider's forte to go that route. So,
right.
So like I said, I could see them trading back, picking up some more capital. Maybe trade back in that first part of the second round, picking up a couple more picks, and still getting a guy like Davidson, who really wasn't on a ton of first round boards that I've seen. So, I mean, it's and they aren't usually ones to take best player available either. They're very position specific. So, and their first round pick last year sucked. So, LJ Collier out of completely nowhere.
Well, Miami's taking their time, so they're probably, like you said, trading back or taking phone calls for potentially trading back. They got a minute left on the board, still haven't submitted their pick. You got McKinney, Jordan Love, Patrick Queen, Antoine Winfield. I haven't talked a whole lot about him. He's obviously got the pedigree with his dad. Very good safety out of Minnesota. Mm-hmm. DeAndre Swift, we talked about him, the running back out of Georgia. I don't know. Do the Dolphins go all in on offense in this first round? Would be epic, and there it is. The Dolphins trade
to the Packers.
Packers for probably what, a wideout or a linebacker?
I would assume.
I think Patrick Queen's coming off the board.
Yep.
I think you just lost your linebacker right here.
Yep. Or is it Jordan Love, the replacement for Aaron Rodgers? No.
I don't like Love at all. No way.
Can't see that being the case.
Yeah, I would have to think this is a receiver or a middle linebacker.
Yeah. They picked up Kirksey in free agency.
Trying to put that good.
Warren Burks is the other linebacker right now. It's got to be Queen.
Here's a crazy scenario. Do the Pats take Jordan Love with the 32nd pick?
Very well could be.
31st pick over there, 31st.
Right. Matt LaFleur. The pick is in.
Yeah, we got Rob in the chat too, saying give him Mims. That Mims would not be a bad pick here.
Mims would be a good pick for the Ravens too. He's another guy that he's already said publicly that he likes blocking, which is important for Ravens. The wide receivers have to block. I wouldn't be disappointed with Denzel Mims. I had hoped he would fall to the second round at 55 maybe for the Ravens, but he's climbed the draft board. I don't know.
So let's say Patrick Queen goes here. Ravens possibility to trade out of the first.
Yeah, very, very possible.
Very high possibility.
Listen, I mean, there's still a couple of edge rushers there, which would fill a need. They got Matos out of Penn State. They got Epinesa out of Iowa. Those are guys I would be okay with. It wouldn't be the slam dunk, I'm jumping for joy pick, but it fills a need. So maybe they stay at 28, take one of those guys. But
all right, here we go. Here's the pick.
All right. With the 26th overall pick, the 2020 NFL Draft, the Green Bay Packers select. Give it to me. Jordan Love.
Wow.
Jordan. Wow. Wow, I said that out of joking.
Somebody cut to Aaron Rodgers' face right now.
Holy cow. So a couple of years ago when the Steelers drafted Mason Rudolph in the second round, remember how pissed off Ben Roethlisberger was? Like Ben Roethlisberger publicly was like, why are we wasting a second round pick on a quarterback? We need more weapons around me. What's Aaron Rodgers saying with Jordan Love?
That's incredible.
Wow. This guy's raw talent, though, man. Look, he's got intangibles. There's a lot to like about him, but there's a lot to still question about this kid.
But he's surprising with the height thing, right? He entered high school at 5'6". I know he's 6'3" now, but that was a big question on him, was whether he could get to that level or not. He's been able to be successful, but to back Aaron Rodgers, I don't know if that makes sense.
You don't draft a quarterback in the first round to be your backup. You draft a quarterback in the first round to be your quarterback of the future. Wow. Dave.
This is nuts.
What?
What a pick.
What?
You know what though? I'm gonna go back to what I said that earlier.
What?
They went from Favre to Rodgers, and maybe they're thinking a similar scenario. Maybe the Packers are playing chess, and the rest of the league's playing checkers when it comes to QBs.
Thank you, Jesus. Patrick Queen's still on the board. You go ahead and
say, how happy are you?
I'm so happy right now. Take McKinney. You can have him because I don't think anybody there expected McKinney to be there for the Seahawks.
Yeah.
Take McKinney, and we'll gladly take Patrick Queen right behind you.
That pick was like an Aaron Rodgers throw late in the fourth, a hope and a prayer.
Right? Aaron Rodgers' brother loved that pick.
I was saying before you came back on, like, do you remember a couple of years ago how pissed off Ben Roethlisberger was when they drafted Mason Rudolph?
Right before I got back, yeah.
Yeah, similar situation. I'm sure Aaron Rodgers does not have a live camera in his house right now. Or if he did, it's broken.
I'm telling you though, there's something to that team doing that twice. There's something to it.
Well, how long? I mean, Aaron Rodgers sat behind Brett Favre for a while. What, did he sit behind him for like 4 years?
3 or 4 years, yeah, which was
it was a while.
Yeah, but it's also, I don't think it's also the same general manager. So to say that it's a little bit, I don't know, it's a little bit presumptuous there.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I still think Aaron Rodgers still playing at an elite level, still has a few years left in the tank.
How pissed is he?
Jay Glazer is just firing text to Aaron Rodgers right now.
Yeah. Absolutely. This is absolutely the story of the draft right now. This is all we're going to hear about for the next few days. Jordan Love going to the Packers.
Do you think Aaron Rodgers wants out or something? Like, I feel like there was something we're missing.
No. There was questions with him and LaFleur last year, but they seemed to
but
kind
how
of get
well
it
did
together.
that work out, though? It worked out pretty well for them in the end.
Together.
Wow.
That was weird.
See, they had to take all my thunder right before the Seahawks pick.
Right? Yeah. Well, now you guys get your players. So hopefully my battery survives for 2 more picks here.
Man, I really want McKinney here. McKinney would be a great pick for Seattle.
It's got to be a no-brainer. I mean, like I said, unless it's just something so detrimental that we don't know yet, that everybody's like, nope, not taking it. Maybe he's got a domestic violence case that we don't know about coming out, or something. Something dramatic's got to happen for this guy to drop this far. Wow.
I would love for the Browns to trade up here for McKinney.
Yeah, I'm sure you would.
They're already
that
on.
would be fantastic.
They're already on with
maybe they'll go for Queen.
Yeah, they're already on with Jordan Love that quick. They are on with him, interviewing him.
Love it.
Somebody out there said Queen goes Seahawks. No, that can't happen. They got Bobby Wagner out there. They don't need an inside linebacker. They're good. Don't do that to me.
Don't do that.
Come on, Cleveland. Trade right here, in front of Baltimore. Take Queen.
Oh, man.
Blake, do you see any potential here for the Seahawks going Matos?
Yeah, I mean, if the plan is to let Clowney walk, I mean that's definitely a possibility. Espinosa would be in that conversation too. I said earlier, they have a choice to make. You're either going to keep Jaron Reed or you're going to keep Clowney, and it would literally make me physically ill to see Clowney walk after everything we did to get him. So
yeah, right.
It's one of those things where I think I think John Schneider would have a huge blemish on his very, very good reputation otherwise if Clowney leaves. So I think you're going to be able to tell what's going to happen with that situation by what they do here. If they take interior D lineman or if they take McKinney, I think there's a good shot Clowney's coming back. If they go edge rusher here, kiss Clowney goodbye.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The pick is in.
Wow.
Like who do you want here?
I would like to see Davis in the interior D line. Well, I'll call him an interior D lineman, but he could play inside out. So
Over McKinney? Over the value of McKinney?
No. Well, it's kind of a toss up because they have Quandre Diggs, they have some guys back there in that secondary that can play right now, but McKinney's would be an immediate impact in that secondary.
Right.
I mean, it's one of those things. Do you take best player available, then roll the dice, or do you take what you need? I mean, you're kind of in a luxury position right now. So.
Is it just me, or does Trey Wingo look terrible?
It's
awful.
not all those studio lights.
Yeah.
The corona got him hard.
That's right.
Did he have it?
No, I'm just joking.
Oh.
The quarantine got him hard. Wow. Still mind blown over Jordan Love.
I know. I'm like still trying to get over. I can't even be excited for our pick because I got my like
blown away.
Yeah.
I literally said it in jest because they had put him up on the screen. There's no way Jordan Love goes.
Yeah, you threw it up as a joke. We all laughed.
Right.
We all laughed.
Right. Wow.
That's insane. I think you guys are safe here, though. You're going to get Queen here with this next pick.
I'm hoping so. I can't see Eric DeCosta blowing that pick. But if you guys do go Matos or you go Espinosa and McKinney's still sitting there, I mean, we all see how much money the Ravens are investing in their secondary. They're going to have to make a decision with that secondary over the next couple of years. They're going to have to shift some of that money over to the offensive side.
And the other thing is too, you have a former Seahawk, Earl Thomas, that played well for you this year, but he's no spring chicken. So
right,
McKinney might make a lot of sense for you guys to be that heir apparent to him. And
right. Yeah, Nick on Facebook says McKinney to the Ravens ? It's quite a
like
possibility.
I said, it's one of those picks that
it's a very Raven-esque pick.
Yeah, I never would have had it on my radar because I never would have thought he would have been here.
I mean, would you have to trade someone to fit him in there?
No, I mean,
you would just get creative with how they would use him for at least the next year. I don't know what kind of contract.
You guys are stacked.
He would probably sit and be a rotational guy with Chuck Clark, most likely.
So Earl Thomas and Chuck Clark both have 3-year deals. They got 2 years left on those deals. So
yeah, he'd be a rotational guy, and then you would let Earl Thomas walk, and he would slide right into that role.
Exactly. Cut him his last year if it saves a lot of money on the cap.
Yep. Well, to transition that money, like you were saying.
Right. Like I said.
And that'll be about the time you got to start thinking about extending Lamar too.
Right. Well, we got to pay Ronnie Stanley, our left tackle. That's going to be $20-something million a year. You got to pay Lamar.
Yeah, pay Marlon Humphrey.
Yeah, Marlon Humphrey, if you're going to keep him. I can't imagine they're going to pay. They paid Marcus Peters already. I can't imagine they're going to pay Marcus Peters and not pay Marlon Humphrey. Yeah, this is a scenario I didn't even run through. I never ran through this scenario because I never thought this was possible. So now I'm like,
here we go. Picks in.
Here it is. 27th pick.
They're doing the
12th man in the background back there. Seattle Seahawks select Jordan Brooks, linebacker.
Wow.
What? Wow.
Blake, you can still become a Browns fan.
I might have to switch up my fandom here, boys. That's 2 years in a row we've completely blown a first-round pick.
Wow. This was a guy that I saw recently over the last 2 days getting projected to the Ravens. I was like, no, I don't want him. If we're not getting the 2 top linebackers in the draft, I don't want him. There's other linebackers we can get in the 2nd and 3rd. Jordan Brooks doesn't make a whole lot of sense in Seattle.
If him or LJ Collier don't make it to at least a Pro Bowl by the end of their contracts, John Schneider needs to go.
Brooks, I mean, that's the thing with this pick that's so surprising. I mean, Brooks was projected to be a mid to late third round, if not a fourth round guy.
Oh,
So to
man.
jump him up to a first round, I agree with you, Blake. I mean, if this doesn't pan out in some way, shape, or form, and he doesn't have a crystal ball, I think he's done.
Even if you are going linebacker here, which they really didn't need, and you take Brooks over Queen,
Right.
He's a run defender. Like this is not a guy who.
And it's an
plays the
interior. He's
entire
an
field.
interior linebacker. You have
Yeah.
the best interior linebacker in football.
right? That makes
What are you
zero
doing?
sense.
So
Are they
Blake,
not
how do you
planning
feel
on
about this
paying?
pick?
Oh, I hate it.
I don't see how they don't go McKinney
chalked
there.
stuff up behind me for the show, and now I'm glad I didn't. I have plausible deniability now.
Man,
In that window, you know what? And another thing that this makes me upset is that the window's closing on Russell. I mean, don't get me wrong; he's not going anywhere anytime soon, but he's obviously not getting any younger. And the way he plays, it tends to be a little more wear and tear than the usual pocket quarterback, and despite him not taking many hits. But they needed a guy that was an impact guy. This guy's not even going to see the field for 2 or 3 seasons.
unreal.
As they show Pete Carroll in his kitchen.
Pete
It's
Carroll looks
"Yay."
like
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't like that pick at all. If you'd have told me,
Look at John
John
Schneider.
Snyder. He's like cheering.
He's
with
all about it.
they could
Wow.
they could bump him outside, and he could eventually take one of the outside linebacker spots. They play the 4-3, so I mean,
Yeah,
I'll have to look. I don't know much about the kid, if I'm honest. I mean, maybe he's a good coverage guy. If that's the case, then this pick does make a
I
little.
don't think so.
Considering-
I mean, it's not looking that way.
Considering
So
that so many people had him going, as a third round guy, and to jump to the first round, I'm a little taken aback.
He's
Yeah.
got good closing speed, could shoot the gaps, had 20 tackles for loss in 2019, powerful wrap-up tackler with the length and body control to make plays in space, reads the quarterback and shows good range in underneath coverage. Just got the scouting report on.
That fits decently. with the 4-3.
Projected round, 5th round.
I'm seeing.
Sorry,
the
Blake.
grades. Wow.
All right,
Yeah,
Fred and Scott, you're on the board, and you have quite a pick to make here.
Yeah, so like I said, this is I don't want to say it's the perfect scenario, but this is a good scenario for us to be in. I really like Patrick Queen here, but again, McKinney just seems to be really enticing sitting there. That's definitely like you said, a Raven-esque type pick. Ah, man.
What's your gut say? What are they going to do here?
I think my gut says Queen. My gut says
Yeah.
Queen because it fills an immediate need.
Right.
McKinney's not an immediate need. He's just a surplus player that could have an effect over the next couple of years. But
Yeah,
man.
Scott, what do you think?
I mean,
You're welcome for your pick of whoever the hell you want.
Right. Thanks for that.
Thank you. I mean, I originally when we talked about this, I originally projected us trying to get an offensive lineman here, but I thought we would trade up a little bit for it. Josh Jones is there, but I think there's a reason he continues to fall. We could use an edge rusher, and we know Gross Matos could do well, but I think Fred's right. I think Queen is the way that we should go, but it scares me a little bit with McKinney kind of being the best guy on the board as far as I'm concerned. Not that it scares me in a good way, but I feel like it could be a good pick, it could be a bad pick, but the fact that he's sitting behind two guys that have done really well for the Ravens over the past few years, I don't think we need it. So, and there it is.
Oh, boy.
Nick Short says, tweet of the night, somebody must have naked pictures of Pete Carroll to explain that pick.
It's frustrating, and then they do what they did last year. They turn around, take DK Metcalf, who looks to be a stud. So I don't know.
Right.
It's
No, that's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
I can't be mad until they put the pads on, but I could definitely be upset.
Yeah, absolutely.
I can be disappointed. I'm not mad. I'm just disappointed.
My anxiety is through the roof. Damn these commercials. Let's go.
Maybe their internet will go down. This will be the
No.
team. They will not get a
No.
pick.
Oh, please
No.
don't.
Pick is in. Pick is in. I won't be disappointed with either of those guys, Queen or McKinney, but I want Queen just because of the immediate impact. we're in a small window here because, like we just talked about, with all those contracts coming up, we really have like a 3-year window where we can really build this team up to make a 3-year run. And then once those contracts come up, there's going to be a lot of pieces that are going to go bye-bye.
Right. Well, and that's Patriots notwithstanding. That's the case for every team. It was the case for the Seahawks back in 2014. It was the case for, it'll be the case for the Chiefs coming up here before too long when they pay Patrick Mahomes the most lucrative contract in NFL history.
Right.
I mean, everything comes to roost after successful seasons.
Yeah.
And the Ravens are kind of in that spot where the Seahawks were in 2012. Where you get to the playoffs, you have a great season, you get to the playoffs, young quarterback, Ravens seasons in the next 2 to 3 seasons, and then you do the same thing. You kind of reshuffle. So
yeah, that's very true. I don't know. Somebody's happy. Who's this? That's Patrick
Queen. He is on the phone with
somebody. A lot
somebody.
of people are happy at Patrick Queen household.
Gosh, that just pisses me off as a Browns fan.
Yeah.
I've been quiet for a while, and I'm upset right now.
Mike with the perfect chime in is great. It just pisses me off.
I'm going to crack a beer.
Screw you guys, I'm going home. Oh, wait, I'm already home.
Yeah, right, yeah.
That is the positivity of the quarantine right here.
That Calais Campbell move that we made with the Jaguars, stealing him away, man, it's going to be such an impactful move for us.
Yeah, really will be.
Line.
Speaking of Calais Campbell, he's on TV right now.
Yeah, that's why I said it. I saw him pop up. So
he's welcome the newest member.
Let's get it.
Let's see here.
The anticipation's killing me. There he is. Where's our fans? What the shit
what
is
the
this?
hell is this?
Ouch.
What the hell? I put in an application for it. It got denied. They didn't like my social media presence. Oh, there they are.
There you go.
Baltimore Ravens select Patrick Queen. There it is. Winner. I'll take it. Nice. Again, like I said, man, this fills an immediate need for this team. All right. Let's go. Raven flock. Flock up. I'm for it.
I told you, interior linebacker was. I had them taking Queen in every mock I did. I had them taking Queen.
Did you have them getting him here?
Yeah.
All right.
Really, at 28. I had like a lot of people early on when the mocks first started, like a couple months ago. A lot of people had Patrick Queen going to the Ravens at 28. But then as things started progressing, people started seeing Queen's value go up, and he started shifting up the draft board. That the Ravens were going to have to make a trade to go up and get him. So I'm extremely happy this guy fell to us at 28.
This is going to be one of those scenarios where Queen's going to end up being a 6-time Pro Bowler, and that Brooks is going to end up being cut after 3 seasons, and I'm going to be upset.
Not bad. Well done, Ravens.
Man, I'm for it. That's great. This is one interesting fact. This is the first LSU player the Ravens have ever drafted.
Really?
Ever.
Yeah.
Yep.
That is surprising.
Yeah. I mean, you figure SEC school.
He's big too. My goodness.
Yeah. Oh yeah. He's a beast.
Man, who do the Titans go with now?
Oh man, Titans 29. Oh, let's see. So they got rid of Conklin, right? So they need some help maybe on the offensive line.
Yeah, it's gonna be your Jones pick here, Mike.
Yeah. This is I think Josh Jones is a really good fit for them right here.
Or they got the pick of the litter between Matos and Espinosa still too. Those guys are still sitting there, and they need some edge help.
They do. Yeah.
Could see a corner here too, like Fulton.
I was here to say if Fulton, that's somebody they could really, really use at this point.
Yeah, let's just not bring up the obvious name that we've been bringing up with every pick because he just continues to fall, and he'll just fall off the board whenever he falls.
Yeah.
We think it's an injury issue. The only thing I can think of,
man.
At this point, I started researching McKinney, and nothing
there's got to be
shows
something
up.
going on.
He ran a 4.63 40. That's slow for a safety at the NFL in the first round, but he plays everywhere and he could do it well. So like that throws you off. But he did leave the combine with cramps and did not do it after that 4.63 40. So I wonder if that's it.
Could be. So four LSU guys drafted in the first round so far through 28 picks. Burrow, Chason, Jefferson, and Queen. Doing things right out there at LSU.
Say who has the most so far? Them and Ohio State?
I think they're paired. Yeah, both of them have 4 at this point, right?
Yeah.
And then Bama, yeah.
Probably
Yeah.
the best.
Yeah, Bama too. Yeah, Bama's got 3 because they Judy Ruggs and
The offensive lineman.
yeah.
If you see if Diggs goes here before the end of the draft, that would be
Right.
And obviously McKinney.
Yeah.
Yeah, shouldn't come as any shock, those 3 programs.
No, yeah.
And it's like I said, I threw it out on Twitter here a little bit ago. If you're in the Midwest or Northeast or wherever you're at, and you're considering Ohio State, just take a look at the first 5 picks of this draft. because you had two
Right.
guys go 2-3 and a guy that was a Buckeye go 1.
Yeah.
So realistically, you could argue that 3 Buckeyes went the top 3 if you count where Burrow was his first 3 years of school.
Right.
Say form.
All right, so I just got to bring it up. Eric DeCosta's wife is wearing like nothing but a Ravens jersey.
And I'm for it.
I wasn't sure if that was the wife or the daughter.
Yeah.
That's the
Oh, the wife. Oh, there you go.
Wife.
At the end, the wife came in at the last second.
Oh,
Uh-oh.
now I feel creepy.
Fred HR is going to need to speak with you.
Oh, Jesus. That's terrible.
Yes.
That's all, folks.
Yes.
Yep. Can't go through a 4.5-hour show without having a blunder at some point.
That's right. That's right.
How are we
Coach
supposed to
O
know?
Cut out.
ESPN's trying to get me to feel better about this pick. Come watch the highlights of Jordan Brooks. Oh my God, there's 5 highlights now. I hope I'm wrong, man. All this criticism, I hope to God I'm wrong. I hope the guy ends up being the next coming of Bobby Wagner, but I don't see it.
I don't think Brooks is a bad linebacker. I just thought if you're going to go linebacker and you have the choice of Brooks and Queen,
Right.
Or
go with a position of need.
No, I know, but I'm saying if you're dead set on going linebacker, you're going linebacker, and you have the choice of Queen and Brooks. I don't know.
So we got a comment on Facebook. Tony Luster says that he was just on Lamar's live, and Lamar is pumped about the Queen pick.
Good. Should be. Listen, the Ravens 14-2 last year got ran over by the Titans in the first round of the playoffs last year. And what has Eric DeCosta done so far? They went out and got Calais Campbell. They went out and got Derek Wolfe, and now they got Patrick Queen, all specifically to help stop the run. Derrick Henry destroyed us.
Well, speaking of the Titans, their pick is now in that quick.
Pick is in. What are we thinking here, guys? Edge, offensive line, corner.
Could be really any of those.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm going to say, if I got to put a pick out there, I'm going to say Gross Matos.
I'm going to go Fulton here.
Yeah, there's still a couple offensive linemen that are kind of projected around here that would make sense for Tennessee.
Josh Jones still hasn't gone yet, has he?
No.
Oh, wow.
All right, here we go.
I think cornerback here.
Right. Titans select with the 29th pick. Isaiah Wilson.
Offensive tackle
out of Georgia over Josh Jones.
Yeah, wow.
Interesting.
What is going on with Josh Jones that he just continues to fall?
Yeah. I mean, Isaiah Wilson's just a man child. Was he like 6'7", 350?
Yeah.
Was he right tackle?
Isaiah Wilson?
Yeah.
He was opposite of Thomas, because Thomas was your left tackle.
Right. He was opposite. So, right. Yeah, but still, 6'7", 340 pounds. You could put him anywhere on the field, I'm sure.
Yep.
Put him on the left side or right side. But just looking at a couple of rankings here, a lot of guys had him in like the 10 to 15 range as far as tackles go.
Really?
A bunch of guys ahead of him. Ezra Cleveland is a guy that's ahead of him. Josh Jones, Ben Barch.
Cushenberry.
Yeah, Lucas Niang out of TCU. A lot of guys that were ahead of Isaiah Wilson. But That's why these guys do rankings on websites and they're not GMs
Yeah.
or scouts.
So we had Jeff Schwartz, who played in the NFL, and Mitchell Schwartz's brother. He was on our show on Monday a couple weeks ago, and he made the point that he says that NFL scouts are complete garbage at trying to figure out offensive tackles. And he said it's been that way forever, and it's just a complete crapshoot.
Well, think about just, again, a local example, right? Orlando Brown. Everybody was so hard on this guy because of this 40-yard time that he had in the combine, and he dropped all the way down to
Who cares?
Wait, what did we get him in the third round, I think?
Yeah, third round.
And yeah, he's going to be a Pro Bowl tackle. He's been a starter since, well, not since day one. He should have been a starter since day one. They kind of slow-footed him into the role, but once he got in, he took over.
What is going on with Mike Vrabel?
I don't know. There's a lot of weird stuff going on.
A bodysuit and a mullet. I'm a little confused. Is that the guy from The Incredibles? Is that Samuel L. Jackson's character? Bodysuit?
Oh, I think that might.
I think you hit the nail on the head.
A mullet and a mustache.
That was strange.
All right, Miami.
Find his super suit.
Miami back on the clock at 30, so they traded back.
Okay.
DeAndre Swift.
Yeah, I mean, you've been saying it all night. No running backs have gone yet. If one's going to go in the first round, this is where you go. Listen, look, we all know the average life for an NFL player is what, 3.5 years or something like that. It works out to. Yeah. The average life of a running back in the NFL is even shorter, right? There's only few running backs that actually have a long career.
I think it's like 2.3 years.
Yeah. So when you look at the value of taking a first round, if you're going to use a first round pick on a running back, getting him late in the first round, you get 5 years. So you're going to get the most productive years out of the running back for the cheapest you can possibly get him. And by the time he's due for a big contract in 5 years from now, you can play the card of, well, age-wise, sorry, you don't fit the mold anymore, and you move him on and let somebody else pay him. But you get 5 of the most productive years because, in my opinion, running back is the single most plug-and-play position in the NFL where you can jump from college and go to the NFL starter right away without a whole lot of adjustment.
If you can pass
pro, a lot of production.
Right?
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Could Miami make a weird-ass move here and go J.K. Dobbins?
That's not weird. J.K. Dobbins.
That makes a whole lot of sense.
Yeah, that's not weird at all. J.K. Dobbins, Swift, Hilaire, any of those guys I think makes sense. I know you're not real high on Hilaire. I just like his package as far as being able to catch the ball out of the backfield. Taylor. There's a lot of guys there that could go if they're going to go running back.
But Fred, to your point, I mean, you get him on this cheap end deal of the first round for 5 years. Nowadays in the NFL, you say let someone else pay him. No one's gonna pay him. Like
right.
Either they get released or they're gonna sign a cheaper deal with that team.
Right. That's my point. But let's just say you have a guy that plays through his production like an Ezekiel Elliott or something like that, and you're handicapped by the salary cap.
Right.
Well, let somebody else have that problem. Let somebody else pay him, rinse and repeat, and now draft your next running back in the first round.
Yeah.
3:15 left on the clock. Number 30. We're almost there, fellas. This didn't go as late as I thought it would. I knew it would be beyond midnight. We're creeping up on midnight.
Right.
I thought there'd be a lot more tech issues.
I thought it would be closer to 1 a.m. by the time this thing is done.
Yeah.
Yeah, this actually went pretty smooth, both our show and the NFL draft.
Our show went
other than you.
Smooth.
Actually, of everything, we actually had more technical issues than they've had.
Right.
You should have seen Scott at the beginning when he couldn't get this thing to fire.
I took 3 shots before you guys came back on Zoom.
I thought he was going to have an aneurysm.
Well, Fred, I saw him rebooting his computer, and then I just see Fred go.
I'm like,
I go, oh no!
Literally, the simplest task is streaming from OBS to Restream.
Oh yeah,
you guys out there. Simplest task. Would have never thought that that's something you need to test. We did all the background work to get everything set up, and the easiest task goes wrong. We're like, oh my god!
Love it.
Kidding me?
Well, if my computer dies again, I'm not sticking around for Minnesota KC. So, well done, guys. We crushed it for the NFL draft.
That's right. But overall, before you sign off, I mean, are you happy with your pick in the first round, getting a tackle?
Oh yeah, that's all we wanted in Cleveland. So mission accomplished today. Some people were hoping we were going to trade back up for McKinney if he fell like that, but tomorrow I think we'll reassess and see where we're at.
Does McKinney? Let me ask you this: do you think at this point McKinney falls out of the first round?
3 more picks.
I mean, Dolphins just put
fallen this far.
Dolphins just put their pick in. You got 49ers and the Chiefs who, they could use some quarterback help. But...
Yeah, I don't know. I think he could. That'd be crazy.
Mel Kiper's head is shaped like a light bulb.
Yeah.
Do you see that?
I thought it was Frank Caliendo for a second, then I'm like, oh no, that's actually Mel Kiper.
Oh my God.
You weren't on when we were talking about Frank on your show earlier.
Dude,
no,
hilarious.
what were you talking about?
Just how funny that guy is, man. It was awesome that you had him on the show. I thought
he's incredible.
Great pull. Dude is hilarious.
All right, Schefter's on again.
Uh-oh, trade.
Let's see. Do you go another offensive lineman here?
They're talking about running backs running back selection tonight.
Yeah, everything that we basically just covered, he's covering now.
Whose house is that?
So what you mean to tell me is that I'm better than Adam Schefter?
Yes, I got you, Blake.
DeAndre Swift of the Batman Wonder Woman.
I'll be your publicist, Blake. I got you.
Perfect.
I don't know. There's not that. I like a lot of running backs in this draft. Don't get me wrong. I just don't see like that Saquon Barkley, Ezekiel Elliott type talent in this draft. But again,
but that's why they would be a late round pick.
Yeah, Nick Chubb. Hey, Nick Chubb's going to be a 1,400 yards or whatever he had last year with a shit offensive line and no passing game. Dude, you put an offensive line around him now. You got a left tackle, you got a right tackle. I'm telling you, that kid's going to be in the running for an MVP one year.
They're showing Brian Flores, and he keeps looking off to the left of somebody. He looks annoyed. He really
always looks annoyed. Have you ever seen that guy smile? He looks like Terry Crews, but without the smile.
Oh yeah.
Always looks pissed off.
It's definitely his kids.
Dave, that is your next goal guest is Terry Crews.
Terry Crews.
He would be a great get. Oh my God.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Dude. We got to reach out to Skura again, get him back on the show.
Yeah.
He was great to have. I'm sure he's itching to get out and talk to some people again.
Yeah, have Matt back on. That'd be great.
Yeah, that would be awesome. He was a great interview.
Talking recovery. He had a lot of fun too. He texted me afterwards like, "Thanks guys, I really appreciate it." So
nice.
How long is the Dolphins pick going to be in? Like, this is the only annoying thing. It's like the NFL has the problem, not the teams.
Nah, they're just milking it. They expected, they probably have sponsors lined up till 2:00 in the morning. So they're
probably
just milking
so.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, not bad.
Well, yeah. So it's either wide receiver here, running back, defense, McKinney.
I really truly expect. Here we go. Dobbins, I think, is who is going to go.
I'm with
All
you,
right.
Scott.
Dolphins select Noah Igbinoghene, a cornerback out of Auburn.
Okay.
Igbinoghene. Yeah.
Wow.
Well, that's not going to help Tua.
That's not fitting on the back of a jersey.
Throw a wrench in the situation there.
They need a corner.
Well, interesting.
I mean, it's good he got picked with that congratulations balloon.
Yeah. How awkward have that been?
Yeah. Well, I guess we'll take this down until morning.
Yeah. Hopefully these don't deflate before tomorrow.
So this guy was projected. I'm just using CBS here. He was projected at the number 38 pick.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So not a severe reach, especially for a position in need.
Actually, so what his knocks are is he's relatively new to playing the cornerback position. Only the last 2 seasons he's only played cornerback.
Well, he grew up in Nigeria, so he didn't really play a whole lot of football over there. His father was a track athlete, like they just showed. I think his sister was a athlete as well.
He also struggles locating the ball early. Not usually things you see out of a first-round guy.
Yeah.
No. Not one that pans out, at least.
No, one of the last knocks, instincts aren't there.
All right. Well, Vikings. I feel like the Vikings have been on the clock now like 10 times, but they've only taken one player, Justin Jefferson. I feel like I've been talking about the Vikings all night. All night long, I feel like I've been talking about them. Do they stay here finally? Man. What do they need? What do we got? Maybe
quarterback,
another
wide receiver,
offensive lineman.
A line, yeah.
Cleveland.
I don't know.
Jones. Man.
Jones or Matos here, maybe.
Maybe.
If Matos falls out of the first round, that would probably be him and McKinney would be my 2 biggest surprises of not going in the first round.
Yeah. I mean, they need some corner help too, but a lot more corners in this first round taken than I expected.
Like how they have the Cincinnati pick at 33 up there, where it's just they're like, all right, we're just going to keep streaming, no issues yet.
Yeah, look, we have no issues. Let's just keep on going.
Keep it going
right through the second and third round tonight. Kansas City. I hope they screw this one up. They can't get any better. I don't want them to get.
Yeah.
They screw that one up.
The Vikings pick is now in.
Vikings pick is in. Cushenberry, another LSU guy.
Could be.
I really think they either go Matos or Fulton here.
I can't believe Josh Jones still.
I could see an interior.
I can't believe
offensive
McKinney's
lineman.
still on the board.
No, I know we've been saying that all night, but
McKinney is the one that really surprises me the most.
yeah.
But I'll be honest. I don't foresee Kansas City taking McKinney at all.
I still can't believe Jordan Love went to Green Bay and they didn't get Aaron Rodgers a weapon.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, that means 30. What is he? 36.
But not only are we not going to get you a weapon, but we're going to draft your replacement.
Yeah.
In defense, a little bit. There are some higher value guys in the second round.
Selections in with the 31st pick. The Minnesota Vikings select Jeff Gladney, another corner out of TCU.
Yeah.
Wow, the corner runs.
Yeah.
I had the Vikings taking a corner, but I had a lot of guys ahead of him. Fulton was one ahead of him. I mean, there's a lot of guys that I would have thought would have been a pick before this guy.
2 first-round TCU guys that I did not expect to see in the first round. Rhaegar and this guy, Gladney. I did not expect either one of them to go in the first round. Interesting. Well, it was a need.
Yeah.
All right, Mr. Irrelevant of first day. Who is it?
Kansas City, man. Like I said, if they're trying to make their offense any more explosive than it already is, the only thing they're missing is a running back.
Yeah.
They got Damian Williams outside of that. That's it.
J.K. Dobbins could be their new Kareem Hunt.
Yeah, but on the same token, they've got a lot of weapons on offense. So why not look to draft defense here? And
yeah,
go
absolutely.
A guy like Matos.
100% agree with you. I'm just saying if they're going offense, the only thing I think that makes sense would be a running back. Defense for
I
them
agree.
Makes the most sense.
Yeah.
So,
I wouldn't be surprised if this is McKinney here, though.
I was just saying, is this
Look,
Matos
if you just
or
keep
McKinney?
throwing it out there, eventually it's going to stick.
Yep.
You found out my plan.
Yeah, right.
Well, and I say that because they need help in secondary. I mean,
Yeah.
that's probably, interior D-line and secondary, Kansas City's, I guess you'd call it a weak spot if there was one on that team.
Right.
But when you're throwing up 45 points a game, who the hell cares how good your defense is? So.
Touche.
I like how Mel Kiper's the only guy with a suit.
I love that Andy Reid's the
Andy
only one.
Reid's in a Hawaiian
Goddamn
shirt.
Hawaiian shirt.
Hell yeah.
That's
Andy
that's
Reid is my
typical
spirit
Andy
animal.
Reid. He is absolutely.
Is there any reason for Kansas City to trade back here?
Yeah.
I see it. Yeah, they need money, or they need
Look,
to get rid of some money off their
Ravens
books.
traded up to 32 2 years ago. Worked out real well with them, Lamar Jackson. Maybe the Ravens move up. I don't know. I think the Ravens are flying high right now. Happy that they got Patrick Queen. So I don't think.
Yeah, I'm with you there.
Yeah.
If somebody would trade up, I mean, any thoughts on who it might be here?
Who do we got?
I mean, the Browns really need a safety.
Maybe the Steelers.
Steelers just don't have a lot of draft capital.
Yeah,
right?
they don't have enough capital, I don't think, to make a move like that.
The Bills.
Who needs an interior D lineman? That's the big thing for the Chiefs.
I don't know. The Colts, maybe.
Maybe the Colts. Trying to think.
They don't have much pass rush that I can think of. So maybe a Matos or an Espinosa. I don't know. Thing is, if you're going to trade into the first round, obviously this is the best spot to do it. It's the least amount of capital that you can give up to get into the first round and secure that 5th year.
Yeah.
What are the Jets' needs here?
Everywhere.
Jets
no,
need a lot.
I know the Jets need a lot, but is this a spot where the Jets could trade up?
I don't know what their draft situation looks like as far as capital goes.
See if I can find it.
The Bears didn't have a pick, did they?
No.
Yeah,
Bears,
Bears and
maybe?
Steelers, I know we're without one.
Could this be the Panthers? They have the 8th most draft capital per PFF, and then they need a. No, they already got Derek Brown. Don't even.
I think Kansas City is gonna just make a pick.
They could go running back. This could be the only running back.
Yeah, that would make a whole lot of sense.
I think Blake was talking about this the other day.
Yeah. I mean, running back makes sense here. Like Fred said earlier, that the only offensive need they have is at running back.
Right.
Yeah, but they do have some defensive needs as well, though.
Oh yeah, I think the needs are far greater on defense. But I'm saying if you're going to take an offensive weapon, I mean, running back.
So I'm on mute now. What's Booger McFarland saying? Do you guys think?
He just went off the screen. So
Well,
I don't know.
yeah.
They're
well,
back
guys,
to they're back to Andy in his Hawaiian shirt.
Mike, didn't you say I thought the Panthers got
Yeah, they
Isaiah
got Derek.
But
Or I'm sorry, no, they went Derek Brown.
Did they? Who went?
Yeah.
Who went? Isaiah Simmons. Why can't I remember?
Arizona.
Arizona. That's right. That's right.
If you have Booger on mute, Dave, he actually said, well, guys, you know, if you get picked 32nd, you know you're a first-round pick.
He is the modern day John Madden when it comes to analogy.
This is a luxury pick, he says. Hard-hitting analysis for Booger McFarland, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh yeah. Well, if you want a guy who's going to run the ball, you should go with a running back.
Yeah, right. Brett Favre, that guy.
You know the worst part is he means well. Like, like the guy is literally, he does care, but it's like, man, you just gotta do a little bit of extra research.
Whoever thought it was a good idea to put Booger McFarland in a movable cabinet?
So does he control that, or does somebody else control that?
Somebody else controls it. That's a bigger issue.
Come on.
I hated that thing when I was at the Browns.
Pick
game.
is in.
Chiefs pick is in,
The
yeah.
final touchdown for a win.
All right, last pick of the first
Here
round.
it comes,
here.
boys. All right, what's everybody's pick? Who's going here? If they're not trading,
I'm going J.K. Dobbins.
Mike,
Let's go Swift.
Blake,
DeAndre Swift.
McKinney. I was going to pick Swift, but since Mike picked Swift, I'll go McKinney.
Sorry, Blake.
Scott.
I'll go Matos. Just keep it different.
Fuck. I'll go Taylor then. We'll all
The
go
running
somebody
back?
different.
All
yeah,
right.
shout out to Taylor. We'll all go somebody different. Wouldn't have been my first pick, but I'll take it.
Ground and pound running back from Kansas City. That's interesting.
We'll see.
Apparently, Andy Reid has a nice setup. He's got a projector
Andy Reid
there.
looks like the super villain off of every like dry humor movie. Like he's in a white shirt. He's just gonna spin around in the chair here in a minute. Evil laugh with like a cheeseburger in one
All
hand.
right, here we go.
Here we go. All right. With the 32nd
Goodell
pick
just literally tossed the Chiefs jersey.
and the last pick in the 2020 NFL Draft, the Kansas City Chiefs select Clyde Edwards-Helaire.
That's a right fit.
Wow.
Wow.
He fits well with
I told you, I'm telling you, this kid is the real deal. He is the real deal. I think he's, like I said, he's a clone of Ray Rice, but even better. And in that offense, a guy that can catch the ball out of the backfield like that, shiftiness, that's what that team's built around. Holy cow, I hate the Chiefs.
Yeah, that's a good pick.
It definitely helps with offense, but it does nothing for them on the defensive side of the ball.
Over DeAndre Swift. I don't know that I like that one.
Oh, man, I hate the Chiefs. They got so many weapons. It's ridiculous.
Oh, my gosh, yeah.
It's ridiculous.
On the offensive side of the ball.
Yes, that's okay if they're putting up 60 points a game. Nobody's gonna be able to keep up with them.
I guess you just you gotta score those points slowly if you want to give your defense any chance.
Look, we're 0-2 against them with Lamar, so I'm not gonna say anything.
Yeah, I think they're doing all right.
They're doing all right. Well, that's a wrap, fellas.
Well done.
That's right.
Heck yeah. Put the applause on. Come on, Scott. Do your job over there.
Scott's like, where's the peanut butter
Where's
whiskey?
the button? I don't know where it is.
I want another goddamn
buttons.
drink.
Fellas, it's been great. It's been a lot of fun. Appreciate all the listeners, everybody that's tuned in, been commenting in the chat field. I've had a lot of fun with this. We got to do this more often. We got to do more. We got to find excuses to do collaborations like this.
Big time.
Yeah. The NFL draft. This is a lot of fun talking to you guys.
And we do need to plan a tailgating event. You come to a Browns game here.
Absolutely.
We've been talking about that for a long time.
I know. Every year I'm trying to make one road trip with the Ravens, so I got to make the next one to Cleveland and come up there and hang out with you guys, man. It'd be a lot of fun.
I might have to go with you at that point.
Yeah, let's do it. All right, appreciate everybody tuning in. Anything else you got to say before we sign out here, Scott?
No, I think we're good. Everybody want to put out any Twitter handles or anything before we sign off?
I guess that's enough.
Yeah, I'll speak for us. Go follow Mike and I's show over at Big Play Podcast. Myself at Big Play _Blake. Big Play Beats down there at Big Play Beats, and then our fearless leader of our show didn't make it tonight at the Big Play J.
Only because don't give him a plug.
There's the one plug of the night.
He plugs me every week, man. Come on, I gotta hook him up. That come out so wrong.
Scott, pull that audio.
I'll isolate that and send that to Dave.
He plugs me every week. Good night, everybody.
And on that note, we'll see you guys.
See you guys.